I think I put the wrong key in. There we go. Let's try it again. Hey, everybody. My name is Sean Shapiro, former police officer, talking about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. You can see from the screen, Diamond and Diamond Lawyers are our sponsors. We can switch that off and say, right back into the swing of things. It's been a while since I've been online. I cannot I cannot tell you enough how wild and crazy it has been in the voiceover cop house. Just so much going on. And I'm sorry I've been away. Sorry that I have not been able to give you the attention that you deserve. I wasn't here. It was only once last week, and of course, this is the first time I'm going live this week. I had plans on doing all sorts of stuff, but I got to the auto show and got tied up with auto show stuff. Yeah. This is what happens. So I hope you're doing well. If you got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, well, you're in the right place. Let's see what we got in the comments section. For some reason, there's it's a slow frame rate, and I don't know why. Coming through the stuff. If you're having issues on Facebook, on Kick, on Instagram, don't know what's going on, but you can always jump over because we're on 9 different platforms. I think we're on 9. We're even on YouTube in 2 different. We're in vertical and horizontal, so lots of stuff going on there. Oh, I should probably make sure that we have our comment section turned on here so I can see it. Stand by. There we go. If there's comments coming from there, I should see them. So yeah, what's going on, everybody? Did you get to the auto show? Has anyone been to the auto show? It was good. I'm going back again soon, but it's one of those things that there's never enough time. Oh, we got a hello from Yum. We'll call you Yum. Now, somebody mentioned to me that the comments are too big on the vertical. Let's make that smaller. It gets cut off. A little live edit here. Whee! It's funny, I put a playlist on and I hear Sean and Logan. Logan hasn't been around for a while. He's been so busy. But we will have Logan back again soon, or so I'm told. Droner Wayne, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Spartacus says hello. Hey, Spartacus. Now, if you're wondering why comments are popping up on screen from YouTube, it's because YouTube supports it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work on TikTok, but I can see you. So let's have a look and see who's saying what's up on that platform. Cassie, hello, I see you there. JJ says hello. What's going on? We've got Alex Parker, and Cassie says, long time no see. It has been a while. Luis, I see you, or Lewis. Punk Father, right on. Miss seeing your videos. That's what Cassie says. I try and make them, but I don't make them nearly enough. I mean, you talk about going from 2 to 3 videos a day, plus a live stream a day, to a couple of videos a week. I hope to bring more. I keep saying it. I keep hoping for it, but it hasn't happened. It's where that was my full-time job before. This is now a passion project, very much something that I do, and I'd love to do more of, but I still have to pay bills. I still have to go to work, and I'm working on a number of different projects that take me away from doing this. As much as I love it, I can't do it all the time. I took this water, I opened it, I planned on drinking it, but didn't. Let's see here. Fire Inferno says, hi, Sean, love the content. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Cassie does have a question. What does Cassie want to ask? Do you have any recommendations for insurance for car accidents? How do you mean? You mean, do I have, other than don't get into car accidents because it makes your insurance goes up? Are you looking for an insurance broker? I'll tell you what I used to tell people when I was a police officer. I can't really give you a company to try. I can't endorse anyone in particular because I don't know who's good and who's not good. I've had good experiences in general, but I don't know who to send you to now. The big thing I will tell you is that there's changes to the insurance game, and they're changing coverages. So it may look like you're getting a good deal, but they're taking away coverage. And that's a problem because, well, first off, most people will go there and they'll not ask what their liability coverage is. And you want to make sure you've got coverage for $2 million. The difference, most people have got $1 million, but the maximum you can sue for in Ontario is $2 million. You want to have coverage for $2 million. And the difference in your premiums to go to $2 million are negligible. Get it. Right, Brandon? I see Brandon. How you doing? Connecting with Brandon on Friday at the auto show again. At least that's the plan. Hopefully that works out. Robin Lynn Gemini says, did you see our previous Facebook comments? I don't see the Facebook comments. they are not coming through, as far as I can tell. Actually, let me see if I can open up another window. Stand by. Maybe that's thank you for bringing that up. I am glad you did. TikTok. No, not TikTok. We got a follower. Thank you for following. I didn't see the name before it disappeared. I got to change that so I can see it longer. It's going to be chat. There we go. And all right. Maybe now it'll work. That I'll see on the Facebook. If you're on Facebook or anyone on Facebook, if you make a comment, I will see if it shows up and let you know. Still can't put it on the screen, but it's better than nothing. All right. I will come back to you. Scott Baptist, how you doing, sir? My old boss. Good to see you. We've got, okay, they weren't turned on yet. I had made a comment about the roads and hope the best. Today was interesting. Who drove today in Ontario? I didn't. I didn't even turn off my alarm system until like 6 o'clock at night. I ducked out just to pick up some takeaway food because apparently I didn't want to cook. But aside from that, I did not go out. And I did make an observation, at least where I am. The snow, where they shoveling it, was like shoveling sugar. And I didn't know any other way to describe it. If you shoveled it, it didn't stick together. It was just frozen granules, like sugar or salt. It just brushed away or blew away but it's weird. It was really weird. I don't remember ever experiencing it. Maybe that's just every year. It didn't feel like a normal thing. It stood out as weird. Robin says, the roads are awful. Wish things could be better out there. I'm fortunate to not have gone anywhere. But yeah, if you had to travel today, I hope you were okay. Oh, Robin says, I had to drive from Woodstock on the 403. It was so slippery and windy, so bad, it was pushing me. Yeah, I'm really, really like, I'm fortunate to have not needed to go outside today. But I feel for anyone who had to. And it really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but still sucked, if that makes any sense. All right, let's have a look at what's going on at TikTok. Danny wants to know, Danny Zuhair wants to know if it's illegal to drive with very bright lights. Most of the issues on our roads today aren't that the lights are too bright. It's that they're poorly directed. They're aimed in the wrong place. But if you had such blinding light that it was the wrong temperature, the wrong color, because you see, lower temperature is going to be more yellow, brighter temperature is going to be more blue. It's got to be a white light. And if it's very bright, it's probably not an issue unless you are pointed the wrong way. So it is against the law to have your misdirected headlights. And super, super bright lights could be an issue. But but is it the bright? Like a lot of people complain about the LED lights. And if they're factory LED lights, they're probably okay. It's just misdirected. James Waters wants to know what my favorite pay duties in Toronto were. So when I was on the job, my favorite pay duty was the Fan Expo. I loved Fan Expo. I mean, I love Fan Expo anyway, but Fan Expo was the best because you get to walk around and see really cool costumes and art and stuff, and still be getting paid to be there, and making a difference. I've been there and made arrests there because of some creeps that were being creeps. It was a great detail, and I got to know the staff, and it was just a good go. So I would endorse that detail. I don't know if it's still good, but it was certainly good when I was there. But I had so much fun. Paid duty for anyone who's wondering what the heck I'm talking about. This is an overtime detail. So on a day off when you're not required for duty, you should be at home resting. If you want to come back on your own time, you can be paid at a paid duty rate, which is basically time and a half, and work for a private contractor or a private company. So in the case of the fine folks at Fan Expo, they would pay to have officers come there and be a security presence or just be a deterrent or direct traffic in and around the event because there's issues. So there's all sorts of reasons why. And then yeah, you'd be there for the day. And it was very often it was a lot of fun. I'm less inclined, or was less inclined, to do the stuff that was miserable, cold, and flapping my wings. Now, when I say flapping my wings, I mean directing traffic, because that kind of sucked. You wave your arms around long enough and you don't feel them anymore. But you know what? They were all good in their own way. Apparently the roads in Quebec are a disaster at the moment. That's from Spartacus. And they wanted to ask about, and potholes, okay. They don't turn their high beams off oncoming. Are you talking about Quebec they don't turn off their high beams? And it is against the law. In Ontario, it's certainly against the law. Courtesy, that's what we need. We need people to never mind what the law says. We should just try not to blind our fellow driver. They're making it less safe for everybody. It's no bueno. I want to shrink a window here. Can I make this smaller? No, it doesn't want to change the font size. Okay. Let's see what else is going on here. Can you be drinking water, coffee, pop, etc. while driving? That's from Fuji. At least I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's not against the law in the province of Ontario to drink water, coffee, pop, have a candy. You know, if you're able to safely operate your motor vehicle, it's not an issue. If you're all over the road because of that, drinking, consumption of legal substances, well, that's if we're all over the road, it's a problem. And that can be careless driving, not specifically an issue with the consumption of water. Now, if you're talking about not being able to or being distracted, like in British Columbia, my understanding is it is against the law to even drink water, that it's considered distracted driving. And that's troubling to me that would be against the law. I get the basic concept in that you've got to be focused, but drinking water, you kind of need water, especially if you don't have air conditioning. Whoo-wee, in the summertime, that would not be fun. Let me see what's going on here. Toronto Comic Con, yes. Peter John Williams says, I don't have much time, but please put your shows on Spotify. They are on Spotify, but I'm behind. And thank you, Peter. I think we've spoken before, and you like to catch up on Spotify. I'm a little behind on that. So yes, generally I publish everything on Spotify. I just haven't been able to spend a whole lot of time catching up. I had a problem exporting files. I've been trying to export in video, and it was rejecting them, and then I sort of put it on hold. I will catch up. I'll put all the back episodes up. They are available on YouTube. They are available on Apple Podcasts. Mind you, none of them have been updated other than the YouTube podcasts since we went off the regular a couple weeks ago. I've been doing a lot of traveling. I was in the States. I was on a cruise. I was in Guatemala for a week. So a lot of work travel, a little bit of fun travel, but mostly work. And this is all fallen by the wayside. So I have to do some catching up. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. Let's see this. Radix, hey, buddy, how long time no see. Says, hey, Sean, I was informed that photo cameras are coming to school buses and TTC vehicles. How will that be enforced? Now, this is, it's already on the Highway Traffic Act. It's being updated to include that. And the deal is that it's the same. It's photo radar. It's red light cameras, right? It's the same technology. And it hasn't come everywhere, but it's the laws have been changed to do it. And some jurisdictions are already experimenting with it. But it'll be enforced exactly the same way. You get a letter in the mail. Decepticons Forever says Pizza Hut is 50% off this week. Ends Friday when you order online. Good to know. If you need a pizza, that's a good deal. I'm off the pizza thing. I do like pizza. When I was in Guatemala, I must say that the cheapest meal in Guatemala was the Little Caesars pizza for like $5 for a large pizza. Yeah, it was good. And I did have some carbs while I was there. I try and avoid carbs, but in Guatemala, when everything was so bloody expensive, and you wouldn't think Guatemala is an expensive place. It was expensive, at least for basic things. Like, I will say it had the coolest McDonald's I've ever seen. I went there for their McCafe, and you look out the back, and they've got this nice courtyard. I'll have to put some pictures up. And there's actually 3 volcanoes, one of which was active one night when I watched it spray awesomeness. It was molten lava and volcanic ash, and it was pretty cool. Anyway, let me see what I can catch up with here. We got some TikTok stuff that I've not been keeping up with. A user with no other defining letters says, I heard you can get a prescription from an eye doctor for tint. Is that true? Not in the province of Ontario, but in other places you can't. There is no exception. There's no exemption. There's no medical exemption for tinted windows. There is a safety limit in terms of what is permitted under the light truck and passenger vehicle inspection guide that allows mechanics to certify your vehicle. And the fact is, there's a charge that says if you obscure the interior of your motor vehicle, you are eligible for a ticket. You can't do it. You can't put color or reflective tint on the windows directly left and right of the driver. That's what the act says. Now, people have challenged it and said, but I have, a condition with my eyes, to which most people will also understand that there's a thing called sunglasses and it does wonders. Other people have skin conditions. They get very sensitive skin, so they want tinted windows. UV coatings are legal. You can get a UV clear coat, but having limo tints, not okay. So, for the skin conditions, UV, for the eyes, sunglasses, there. We have Vaughn Man who wants to come in. I'll bring you into the show. They're connecting. Let's see what Vaughn Man's got to say. Hello there. And they left. I don't think they expected me to actually let them in. Yeah, if you want to come in, feel free. We'll chat. I've had a bunch of people. It's one of the coolest things about having the the TikTok studio up, is that I can actually bring guests in. They click the button. They think, he's never going to let me in. And then I let him in and he goes, I'm leaving, scared. It's tough. It's not easy to be on camera or be off camera and just talk. All right, let's see what here. Marty, earlier roads were terrible. That's what they said. Board repair guy, how you doing? Board repair guy says, spent a few days in GTA. The hazard lights during traffic slowdowns are wild. Yes, and if you've been watching me for any period of time, you know that I am against the use of hazard lights, except in very specific circumstances. So just driving in snow, fog, that's not what hazards are for. They're for radical changes, abrupt changes. So if you are driving and you get into, whiteout conditions instantly, but 5 feet behind you was visibility, turn them on until other people get the hint and slow down with you, and then turn them off because you're blinding those other people with your flash blinky blinks, your bright blinky blinks. That's what I meant to say. Okay. Vaughn Man wants to try again. Let's give him another shot. What is up, Vaughn Man?
Hi, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Not too bad. I was just wondering, how do you figure out if you have a warrant on you in Ontario?
If you have a warrant, if you don't know because you've not been told, but you think you've got a warrant, you can certainly contact your local police or have a lawyer make an inquiry on your behalf and make arrangements for you to turn yourself in, which is usually better than finding out at the side of the road and getting pinched.
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Yeah, so if you think you've got something that might turn into a warrant or that there's something going on, you're better off contacting a lawyer and having them make arrangements for you.
Okay. And does the police officer need to tell you why he pulled you over right away?
No, and they don't have to tell you the truth either. They could pull you over and say it was for one thing, but it could be for another. The truth is that a police officer can pull you over to check if your license is expired, if you're sober, if you're insured. There's a whole bunch of reasons, and they could also have an additional reason of you have a warrant. So you never know why they're actually pulling you over. But that's a legit question. Very often, we're pretty straightforward about it. You pull you over. Hey, I pulled you over because you were speeding, because that's why I pulled you over. There's nothing to hide. And then during the course of that investigation, even if I didn't know about the warrant, if it comes up, then you get that bad news and possibly the ticket to boot.
Okay. And I wanted to ask, is it illegal to have sexual intercourse in a car in a public parking lot?
Well, you're in public, right? So you might get into some issues with the fact that you are doing something that's lewd in public. That's where your tinted windows might come into play, but those might be illegal too. But in private property, your tinted windows aren't an issue. More often than not, police aren't getting involved with you having fun in your car. But there have been times where people have been, checked on to make sure that there's nothing being done against the will of the other party. So interesting question, not the normal question, but I appreciate it. Thanks for hopping into the show.
No worries. Well, have a good night.
All right. Yeah, always get to throw the twist question in, but yeah, the definitely, I say that there may be other things, as I catch myself off guard, that come into play, but in my experience, it's never been something I've been searching for, finding people I've been dealing with driving stuff, not park patrols. But I'm sure that it's a bad idea. It's just not the thing you want to do. Bruh says I'd be watching while I'm driving. Don't do that. It's against the law. D says, probably a horrible thing to ask, but what's the worst thing you've witnessed or been called to? I've been called to some bad stuff. I've investigated and been party to investigations for a lot of fatalities, which is the reality of a traffic officer. We think, or most people think, it's just about pulling people over and giving them tickets and ruining their day. But the fact is, some people have had the worst situation happen, and families lost their loved one, whether they were a driver or a pedestrian or what the case is. And we're going in and we're investigating. One of the least favorite but most memorable events was when I was tasked to simply pick up parents. I was asked to go pick up mom and dad because they were going to go identify their daughter. That was one of the hardest things to do, because their daughter was a sole occupant. She was under the influence, or had been under the influence of alcohol, left the roadway, and had a horrible wreck and didn't survive. And going with them was hard. And, what do you do? What do you say? It's a difficult situation to be in. Try putting yourself in that position. Can you imagine total strangers? They know why you're there. You're there to give them a ride. And it's the worst ride of their lives. You keep seeing people who experience hardship. You see people at their best. You see people at their worst, and all areas in between. You see a lot more that are having their bad days. Whether they're in handcuffs or somebody they love and coming home. The tickets are little blips. They get upset by them, but it's not the same. Rima says, I work at the Home Depot as a sales associate. Been there for 5 years. Can I apply to be TPS? Absolutely. You need to have, if you look at the website, go to tps.ca/careers, tps.ca/careers. Yeah, you can look at other police services. I'm just biased and think Toronto Police is the best one. Go there and you can look at the requirements. Basically, you need grade 12 education. You need a driver's license, full G, no more than 6 demerit points. You need a clean record. And when you have that, you can apply. You don't need to have some, major magical list of things. You do need to have a commitment to your community. You do need to be volunteering and giving back. But in terms of magic, you don't need some magical recipe to apply. You need to be a good person, responsible, and a good record of having, shown up to work. Because I say that because if you go and you apply and you have a terrible work record because your work ethic isn't good, when they do background checks, oddly enough, you'll find the Toronto Police background officer will find out that you're late, or you're not tidy, you don't finish tasks on time. That will all hurt you. But if you've got a great work ethic and you're a good employee, and the people that you're going to be giving as references are good, and you're continuing education, maybe you speak a couple of languages and you're learning another one. These are all good things. Don't take yourself out of the game. If you can pass the physical, if you can pass the academic testing, and there is testing. It's not tough. It's not easy, but it's not tough. I say it's not easy. When's the last time you studied grade 6 and 7 math, and how proficient are you? How fast can you do this stuff? That's really what we're talking about, because the testing, at least when I did it, you had a fixed amount of time. You had a lot of questions. You can't get stuck into one of them. You have to be able to keep moving forward, and that means being proficient. But I'm happy to talk about those things. Urban Orbit wants to know if I went to the auto show. I have been to the auto show twice. I was there media day. I was there yesterday. I will be back there on Friday. Sadly, my work schedule has got me busier than I'd like to be during auto show. Last year's auto show, I was there every single day with the Toronto, well, saving except for a couple. I was there almost every day with the Toronto Police booth, helping them out. Let's see here. So yeah, but I'll be there Friday. I would love to come back on Saturday as well. We'll see how that goes. Sundays don't work for me, and that's the last day of the show. Jonathan says to somebody, Jonathan was saying to, hold on a second. So I saw $10,000 for insurance. I got to scroll back and see the context of that. A couple of questions asking if I'm retired. I'm not retired, and I retired from policing. I left policing early, but I didn't leave the workforce. I'm still working. Orthodox Pulse says, why did you retire? Family reasons. I needed to, there was a bunch of reasons, both I thought about actually doing an episode about this, but there's two things. One, the way that the pension programs work is if you stay past 50, you have to actually lock in. You lock in past to your pension. You can't cash out. I didn't want to do that, so I changed the way I did things financially, and then I needed to be more available for my family. Okay. Am I related to Ben Shapiro? It's funny. I was just talking about this. I used to get that question a lot. And the answer is not that I'm aware of. So Ben Shapiro is not very tall. I am very tall. I'm 6'5". His voice is quite high pitched. Mine is low. And he has a lot of hair. And as you can plainly see, I do not. So I don't think we're any kind of relation. Shapiro's a very common name, even though I don't know many of them. Bruh23 _4 wants to know how low can tint be, and the answer is you can have up to 30% light blockage, and that is on the windows left and right of the driver position. You can't have more than 30% of your vehicles unsafe for the road. That's 30% total, not 30% applied to the window. And many people get confused because 30% and 70%, 5% and 95%. What are we talking about? I'm talking about the amount of light being blocked is 30%, meaning 70% visible light transmission must be permissible through the window for certification purposes. But even though it's legal for certification, you can still get a ticket for obscuring the interior of your vehicle because a police officer must be able to see you. And ideally, so should everyone else on the road. So you might still find yourself getting a ticket. Oh, Brandon was in Markham. He was checking out his new set of wheels. Many people don't know that the new GTD Mustang is actually manufactured primarily in Markham. So he was there to check out his new set of wheels. It's a beautiful ride that I will not fit into. He's got to go. Oh, he's bailing. He's got to go. What time was that? A little while ago. But he's got to go because he's got to go to sleep because he's a busy dude. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Tracy's one of our moderators. I didn't give her any a heads up that I was showing up late tonight, but glad you popped in. Okay, what do we got here? What the heck am I listening to? Hang on a second. I'm just listening to music. It's just on. What? Memories. Who is this? Where's my mouse? We'll just put this one on repeat because there's no talk about kissing. There's nothing wrong with that, but okay. AG says, Bra wants to know what the consequence is for having a radar detector in your car. Well, aside from the fact that you can $170 fine, you can have the item seized because police have the search authority based on suspicion that you have it, and then you get the ticket and points. In terms of what can you do with them? Like, you can't have it in your car, you can't transport it, you can't purchase, you can't sell it, you can't have it in Ontario. Now, there's a company that actually manufactures them in Ontario, and they have a very specific line in the HTA or entry in the HTA that tells about it, and it quite clearly says you can only transport them by way of courier to their end destination. So it has to be a shipping company sealed for manufacture. You can't even take them out of the box. Okay. Scrolling back, a whole bunch of stuff just popped in. By the way, if you're watching and you don't already follow, please do. I try and go live Tuesdays at 10 a.m., Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Obviously, it doesn't always work out, and I try and jump in as much as possible in and around that. But if you're not already following, please do. And I am also on multiple platforms. So I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Kick, Twitch, anywhere you are, I'm trying to be. Facebook, we got a VoiceOver Cop Facebook page. Over 1,000 followers now. That was no, it's maybe 600 followers. I don't know. I'm not really worried. Yeah, as long as you can find me, that's what's important. Okay. Ted says, "Hey Sean, I keep seeing people parked facing the wrong way. How come they don't get tickets? Where? Facing the wrong way where? If you're talking about on the street, if you have an accessibility pass, wheelchair pass, accessible pass, you can legally park contraflow, which means left door to the curb. Otherwise, it's right door to the curb, right side of the car, passenger side to the curb. But that could be one of the reasons. Or it could be that people are doing weird stuff and nobody cares. Let's see here. Rima thinks that they'll be looked down upon applying for the police because you work at Home Depot. Not at all. We have people from all walks of life, mechanics, carpenters, people in retail, people who are security guards. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters who you are. If you're a good person, if you want to help people, you're a good candidate for a police officer. As long as you show up for work and do your bit, do what's expected of you, maybe go above and beyond. Maybe you're well known as being a compassionate person who's helping other people on your team. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Like, you know how many people go from policing to Home Depot? They would love to have that job as a retirement position, because despite people thinking retirement means doing nothing and watching grass grow, police officers tend to be people who like to be busy, and they tend to take jobs, even if it's like once a week, here and there. They still get out and help and talk to people and like to be useful. So that tends to be one of the positions people go for. Okay. What do we got here? Dee says, thank you for your service very much. You're very welcome. I still serve. I serve in this way. I like to volunteer and do exactly what I'm doing. Now, what I do now is work with an organization I founded called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, which is has a goal to educate people about traffic safety, traffic law and stuff and things. And that's what I'm doing right now. And we have sponsors like I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention them again. Diamond and Diamond Lawyers are sponsors. They want to help us keep doing what we're doing. And the goal is to grow and get more sponsors and eventually have more faces on here and create content with a team as opposed to just me, myself, and I. But, I have a dream. That will be one day. Okay. If someone doesn't have insurance after being in a collision, should you call 911? Excuse me. Yes. If you're driving and you get into a collision and the other party says, I ain't got no insurance, that is a call to 911. That is a call to police because that person is driving illegally, unlawfully, and should be investigated and charged. It's a very serious offense. The fines are $5,000 to $25,000 and up to 6 months in jail. It is absolutely. Now, is it emergency? Are they fleeing? Are they under the influence? Is there something else going on? There may be a lot of different things going on. Are they even licensed? I would be calling 911. I think that's an emergency or at least an urgent call, different than the 30-minute hold for a non-emergency call. Now, but only you can decide if it's emergency or non-emergency. Because if you think that, emergencies for people with pew-pews and people who need emergency access, you're right. And if you're comfortable waiting, wait. I don't want to dissuade you and escalate things if they need not be escalated. Let's have a look here. Decepticons Forever wants to know if my shirt is Emperor's New Groove. This was my my radical Disney purchase. I think it was on sale for $8, and I love it. I've gotten nothing but compliments from this shirt. I was just impressed that they had a XXX available, so there you go. Oh my God, it's the Logan. The Logan is watching. I played your song earlier, and somehow that brought you here. Well, that's good to see you, brother. Logan's in Alberta. He's in Alberta, Brooks, Alberta. And he says they've got cameras on their public school buses and they work great. He does enforcement stuff. T.O. Tunnel Cop, how you doing? If you're still here, what's up? In Alberta, you can get a medical exemption. However, you must meet a very specific criteria for skin cancer. That was an answer to questions about tint. Can you get a medical exemption? So in Alberta, you can. Let's see here. Okay. Robin was talking about earlier the whole using, or at least Robin is now talking about using signals. Apologies if it was like 5 minutes ago and I'm just getting to you now. Maybe it was 10 minutes ago. But the use of hazards. I did a whole article on bettertraffic.ca and I posted it on my LinkedIn. But the deal is people just drive around with their lights flashing. Like we don't know it's snowing. That's not the correct use. But notifying of abrupt changes or something that people really need to pay attention to, temporarily using them makes a lot of sense. Rob, I'm glad Robin appreciated the caller's question about various laws. Okay. Like that. Just catching up, sorry. Robin says, be a good person inside and out. Be a police officer. People forget that who you are. People forget that who you are matters. They have an old friend who is a police officer, and he always sits close to my heart. Oh, very nice. I'm hearing that the background music is too loud. I've dropped it lower. I don't need the music. It's only if it makes it better. If it makes it worse, we will remove the music. John has a question. He says, Sean, what should I say when they ask me why they should hire me in the interview? Well, why should they hire you? Tell them. I mean, I would tell them, from my perspective about me, is that I'm a person who wants to help, and that I'm enthusiastic about helping people. So much so that I want to come and help more people, even being by way of dispatched by police dispatcher. I want to put that enthusiasm. I can't even speak now. That enthusiasm to work in the community. I want to help more people, and I want the police to help me help them. Something like that. Truth is, you know why you want them to hire you. It's your dream to help people. It's what you want to do. Don't say because you want to drive fast and use flashing lights. That's a bad answer. Ryan wants to know what I think about First Amendment auditors. Generally, I think that they're wasting money and time of police. I think they're generally a waste of time, and they're not really helping people. However, I've seen some First Amendment auditors uncover some terrible crap. So it's a double-edged sword. You have them wasting people's time partially, and sometimes they uncover some not so good behavior. But I generally don't like them. Not because there's something to hide, but because they're just wasting time. Especially the guys in the States walking around open carry, waiting for someone to call police, and then challenging the police officer to see if they know what the First Amendment rights are and what the laws are. Like, they're getting a call because someone's scared. They're scaring people. Every situation is different, of course. Glam wants to know how come limos can have blackout tint. Back windows can be as dark as you want. And Jonathan said it right. It's the windows left and right of the driver and the windshield. You can't have anything on the windshield. Doug says, how come they stopped using the account you worked on before? We're talking about the traffic services account. That was, they stopped using it because I guess nobody wanted to do what I did. Or they got busy, or, the problem with policing is that there's a lot going on, and you hope for the time to invest into media outreach programs like I created on the traffic services account. And it was great that I could do it for as long as I did. And when I left, they didn't have either the momentum or the staffing or whatever. I don't even know. But not everybody feels comfortable doing what I do, sitting on the camera and talking for an hour or more. And yeah, it's tough. I hope they bring it back. Jonathan also wants to know, he said, I appreciate the advice. I didn't make the beep test, but we'll get there. Okay, let's talk about beep tests. Does anyone know what the beep test is? Obviously, Jonathan does. It's hell. I didn't like it. Some people have no issue with it, but for big guys like me, not a fun experience. My suggestion is get a 20-meter piece of rope, mark the ends so you know when that beep line is, because there's a warn line and the fail line. And instead of trying to test, and like most people get on there and they run the beep, and then they get gassed and they stop and they start the test again and they run till they get gassed, and they keep running to the same point. They get gassed at 4 and they just start at 1 again. Well, you get really good at going to 4. You don't get good at getting to 6 or 7. So what you need to do, at least my advice is, and what worked for me, is run till you get gassed, leave the beep going, take a breath, wait 2-4 lengths, whatever it is, jump back in at whatever it is. If it's 5 that you take a break at, jump back in at 6 and go as long as you can. If that's 2 lengths or 5 lengths, whatever it is, get used to going faster. Eventually, that will get you over the hump. Stopping at 4 and starting at 0 again does not work. AC 3694 wants to know if there's any offense for not using winter tires during the winter. If so, what's the offense? In the province of Ontario, it's not against the law. There's no requirement to use winter tires. Sadly, I think there should be, but there's no law in Ontario. There is a law in Quebec, and it might be the only province where it's actually a legal requirement to have snows. In any case, if you had tires that were unsafe, not because they weren't snows, but because or winters, I should say, but because they were worn out, that would be an improper tire charge or an unsafe motor vehicle charge, depending on how it was being written up. Okay. What do we see here? Just scrolling back. Hope the music, I lowered the music. Let me know if the music is still okay. George Costanza says, wrong, bad cop. Wrong about what, George? I'd love to hear about it. Tell me how I'm wrong. I always love the people who say stuff but have no idea what they're talking about. But hey, I'm always open to being corrected. If you know stuff that I don't, by all means, bring it. Okay. Sports Pick says, I got pulled over for a license plate light. That one is a joke. Not a joke. You must have a 3 candela minimum light on the license plate. It must be illuminated and it must be white. If your license plate isn't illuminated, you're in the wrong. Fix your license plate light. There's a $110 ticket until you do. I don't know what the problem is. It's such a simple thing. Just fix it. Okay. We talk lots of talking about tint. Why am I on a 15-second delay? I'm probably on a 15-minute delay. Okay, let's see here. How do I get stunt driving dropped? Probably need a good defense. I don't know if you have one. They don't usually go away. Jonathan rightly says, get a lawyer. You might be able to make a plea. You might be able to negotiate it, but that's a tough one. Mark W. says, so far you haven't said anything I believe in or understand. Mark, do you need me to talk slower for you? I don't know what you don't understand or believe in. But it doesn't sound like a me problem. Sorry. Okay, scrolling down to catch up because that's apparently I went too far back. Can I drive my Jeep with no side mirrors and doors? That's from Kyle. And the answer is you need to have at least one mirror with a view to the rear. If your mirror that's mounted on your windshield has a clear view to the rear, you don't technically need any other mirrors. However, make good shoulder checks. But my suggestion would be, although you're not violating the law, you should get a window, or I should say a side view mirror relocation kit. That's what I had when I had a TJ. You remove the door mounted mirrors and relocate them to the windshield hinge. There may be other versions, but that's what I did. Tessa says, there are so many headlights on vehicles now that that are so bright they're blinding without high beams on. There are some very, very white lights, very, very bright LED bulbs. And I was actually talking about this earlier on. It's not necessarily that they're too bright. It may be that they're misdirected. And this is one of those things that, when you pay, I don't know, if you've bought a new car, they usually screw you with a $500 charge called PDI and freight, where they do this pre-delivery inspection, PDI. And one of the things they should be making sure is that it's mechanically sound, that the headlights are actually directed in the right direction. Not always done. Sometimes they take your money and don't do diddly. Let's see here. Oh, no. Okay, now I'm trying to, so maybe I turned it so low. Logan says he can't hear the music. At which point I'm the only one listening to it. Okay. Let's see here. George Costanza. By the way, the real George Costanza makes better jokes. This one says, bacon officer. Sorry, I needed to pause to ingest the humor and laugh uncontrollably. Undead Neon, what's going on? He says, Dory was an old coded message to remind me to introduce myself. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. If you want to know stuff and things, by all means, follow me on all channels, and I will happily help you whenever I can. Tracy says that she can't hear the music at all. Now I want to raise it to see if you can hear it. Let me know when you hear it. Robin says, nice name calling. Yeah, listen, trolls. I actually like the trolls to make it interesting. That's by no means offensive. It's just silly. But I used to get some real heavy duty hate. And thankfully, I have a few folks, magical moderators like Melody and Tracy, who can mute those people and kick them out of the chat. And I hardly ever see them. I can't even miss them because sometimes it's good for a laugh. Let's see here. Lucky Chill wants to talk about stuff I have no interest in talking about. Is it fine to watch Netflix while driving? No, that's screen visible to driver. It's the same as using your cell phone or entertainment device. And that would get you a $615 ticket. And rightfully so. It's not appropriate. Okay. Fuji says, I can tell. Oh, yes. Okay. John O'Toole says, Sean for TPS chief. Well, I appreciate the sentiment. That's a tough job. I don't know if I want to be chief. I think I like being able to be ground level, dealing with people, helping people. When you are at the chief level, you're so involved with politics. I don't know if it's still fun. And I know the chief, I've spoken to him about this, and he talks about the fact that he, like, people are telling him to go here, to go there, like he's managed. He's got so much going on. He doesn't just get to walk around and have a good day. He's a busy dude from morning till night. And I've had the good fortune of knowing, not like we were hanging out buddies, but I've got to know and speak to a number of chiefs. It's a tough job. Truly. Our last chief used to come on the show when I was doing live streams. He'd come live stream with me. It was amazing. Fuji says, I'm 67. Can I join the force? I think you can. If you can meet all the requirements, I think you can. There used to be a mandatory retirement age that is no longer there. So if you can meet the requirements and pass all the testing, I think you can. How do you get on the ETF? That's GLAM 2025. GLAM, the answer is you need to apply. You need to do a screening. Like they do a course where they screen you. And if you pass that, they which is tough as all get out from my understanding. Not from me. A friend of mine did it, got on. He was very fortunate. He's been on there since, never left. And you got to get on and then continuously work out and be a machine. And then if they pair you psychologically, I think, and they put you into a team where you fit, and that could take a while. So it's very interesting. I've never done it myself, but I understand it's quite the process. Riley wants to know, if I make the cop laugh, will I still get a ticket? Depends on the cop, depends on the joke. I don't know. You take your matters. That's risking your ticket with your humor. I don't know if it's a smart move. AC 3694 wants to know, if when I applied to become a police constable, did they test your color vision? Yeah, there's a vision requirement in color acuity, stereo acuity, color acuity, being colorblind. You can't be a police officer unless you pass. So that's where a lot of people became court officers and special constables, because you didn't have a color test. You didn't have to be color accurate. Some people have issues with red and green. Police officer has to have proper color acuity. Conservative Canadian wants to know how many people I caught with radar detectors or jammers. It was never really a big thing for me. One of my partners used to go after them all the time. A few, not a big thing. Not very common. And frankly, if I saw one, it was usually a warning to say, get rid of it, as opposed to going through the process. Because a lot of people, especially when they're coming from out of town, and I saw someone who had one in their car last week, you know who you are if you're watching, and they're like, but I disconnected them. Like, you can't even have it in the car. So my suggestion to people who are traveling through is to put it in their trunks. They are legal in other places. Okay. Jonathan says they had an extensive eye exam for me. Once you get hired, you get an extensive eye exam, a full medical. You have to pass that medical to be hired. Melody says PDI is required and paid for by the manufacturer. Yeah, paid for by the manufacturer? I thought it was paid for by us. I could swear they add freight and PDI. Unless things have changed. I haven't bought a new car in a long time. Spencer says, as a tech, it wasn't even in the factory checklist for Volkswagen for PDIs when I was there. Interesting. Melody can hear the music. Jonathan can't. Hearing. I want to know if it's too loud now. Oh, you got paid for your flight delay? Greg, did you use my code to get a discount? Greg, DSN76 says, shout out to your airfairness video. I got paid for my flight delay. How much did you get? You're the first person I've heard from directly. I know they had someone who got like $5,500 or something like that from searching the. Okay, a quick plug to airfairness.com. I met them at the auto show. I fell in love with what they were doing. You can go to their website. They can search your inbox. And if you've received or experienced any flight delays in the last 6 years, they can do a quick search of your inbox and potentially find you money. You can do all the searching on your own. They remind you quickly that you can make applications. And if they tell you, oh, it was legitimate reasons, you're not owed any money, they remind you that flight or airlines can lie to you. They cross-reference all of their stuff with their big brains and check out all the real reasons that are logged, and then go and fight for you to get that money. They do charge a commission, but I worked it out with them. You get 10% off that commission if you use the code Shapiro when you're filing a claim. And you made my day, my friend. You made my day that you got paid. I'm so excited for you. I was hoping, I fly a lot. I was hoping that my flights qualified. They didn't. I had like 9 delays that were in 6 years. All of them didn't qualify for money. Oh, happy for you. I was hoping to like pay for my next vacation with the money. That didn't happen. That's great, Greg. So happy to hear that. Okay. So happy. Like really, like that's the best. Someone got paid. I gotta like, yeah. Tell me how much. I want to know. And I'm going to see those guys on Friday, and I'm going to talk to them. That's amazing. They said, wow, that's so cool. I really am excited about that. It's helping people. Kathy says, got parking tickets in the last year in Toronto when I haven't been there in 8 years. Sometimes bad people make fake license plates. So that's entirely possible. If you were not there and you got a parking ticket for being there, I would contact local police. I would tell them that you think that someone's possibly using a duplicate license plate. Also, check that your license plates are, that you haven't lost one, that someone hasn't stolen one. Happens. Greg and Crazy Vids, are you one and the same? Because I just saw here. Oh no, I think you must be the same person, because I see shout out to Air Fairness for getting me comped for my flight delay. Oh no, different verbiage. So maybe we got 2 people who got money. Oh, that's sick. If let me know if you're the same person. Either way, I'm really stoked that you got paid. Oh, that's really exciting. So maybe possibly 2 people. Rabbi, I see Rabbi Neff just jumped in on Instagram. How you doing? Let's see here. Spencer says, okay, we got that. Jonathan says, thanks for continuing this after you're retired. My pleasure, my friend. I'm really excited to be able to continue. It was something I was very passionate about when I was on the job, and the fact that I can continue this on my own time is fantastic. And the fact that I have people who believe in me, like little plug for Diamond and Diamond, that they help sponsor the show and make sure that I have the ability to have the software and all the streaming stuff because it's expensive. It is. So I'm glad that they're helping me. It really makes a difference. If it was entirely out of pocket, I'd be in trouble. Let's see here. Jonathan wants to know volunteer hours and bilingual mandatory. I gotta make this smaller. Oh, that's too small. Is this still legible? Okay. So bilingual is not mandatory. Whatever languages you have, that's great. I spoke a little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Russian, a little bit of other things. But I was by no means bilingual. I was an English speaker and still working on that. If you're working on it, like take a part-time course, like keep developing your language skills. That's a benefit, but it's not mandatory. In terms of volunteerism, I would say that is mandatory. It may not be a requirement on paper, but if you are not giving back to your community, and not just to check a box. You don't just volunteer. Like last week, I went and picked up garbage for one day in July, and then I never went back. A commitment to your community, the community that you're going to serve, is important. Greetings and salutations from Akela Draconis, who says, I can't stay, he says, can't stay safe, and remember, don't have a good day, have a great day. He is a good man. He recently retired from his work with the city of Toronto, and Toronto, lost a magical member of the traffic community when he left. We Stand for These says, even retired, you keep yourself up to date with the changes, fines, and everything else. Yeah. And a lot of phone calls to people I know to make sure things stay the same, or it's not stay the same, but that I'm up to date on things. I'm also a member of CARPSP. Hold on a second. It's the Canadian Association of, one second. CARPSP. I think it's CARPS. It's the Canadian. Oh my, it's terrible. It's an acronym, and they're gonna make fun of me now. Canadian Association of Road Safety Professionals. Yeah, it's the Canadian Association of Road Safety Professionals. That's CARSP. So I'm a member of that. I still get involved with meetings. I still, I do stuff and things. Because if you want to be an expert, you got to put the work in. So I still do that. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. Bunch of different comments just came in. Hey, if you're watching, you don't already follow me, please do. And by the way, Boss sent a rose. Thank you for the gift. Melody's friends with the chief of Sarnia. Oh, former chief of Sarnia. Okay. Beamer Boy says Canada. Yes, Canada. I should put a flag on it. I got to put a flag in the background. Really, remove that. El Mateo says, does having prior military experience help join the police service? I think it would. I think that's good experience. We have background in recruiting officers that really focus on military folks. A lot of members of police services in North America, Canada, United States really appreciate military service. How do I report license plate fraud? Yeah, talk to your local police. Put a report in. When do I PDI? It's a warranty job line. I don't get that, but Melody said it, so it must be important. Fuji says, we needed to PDI before leaving the factory, and dealer was also required to do a PDI. Interesting. Alexander wants to know if air fairness makes you pay if they find nothing. No, it's entirely free to search. They only pay, not even when you claim. They pay only if you get the money. So you don't pay anything if they make a claim and they don't succeed, because they could make a claim and they could fight and they could insist and they can go back and forth. But if they actually lose because somehow they prove that they don't owe you the money, then they don't charge you. It's all on them. And if they send you the money, apparently you get a e-transfer and less their commission. But I mean, I don't know about you, but my life is busy enough without trying to get free money. So I had this conversation with another police officer, a current serving police officer at the Toronto Police booth. And he's like, I would just file it myself. And I'm like, you got the time, you have the know-how, perfect. You're aware, you get your money. But if you didn't even know, and it's 6 years ago, you didn't even know there was a claim. That's a different story. They're finding you money you didn't know you had. If you're up on the laws and you know what the rules and consumer protection stuff is, and they and you're aware and you file it and you get it, great. How many hours did you put into that? I would happily give up some of the cash to let somebody do it and just give me the money. That's where I'm at. Mars says, I have early resolution for speeding 20 over. What should I aim for? You know what? Let them offer. At an early resolution, you don't have to accept their offer. You can always go to trial and you can always ask for another option. You can always sit on it and see what the story is. Hey, not a firefighter. I see you, brother. You sent me a heart. Thank you very much. You know what? If you can get something that has no demerit points, a lot of people like to lose the demerit points. If you're 20 over and they give you something like 15 over, which has no demerit points, and if you're actually guilty, then that's a bonus because you get the points. But here's what you need to know. Demerit points, with or without them, still insurance doesn't like it. Like insurance does not like speeding, even if it's 15 over. So it doesn't change your insurance situation. If you have a lot of speeding, even if it's low speed, it's bad. Maybe they see what they offer. Anything is better than what they were starting with. And you don't have to accept that. You can always go to trial. Abdullah sent a rose. Thank you very much. Just so you know, when you send money, it goes to the not-for-profit, the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, helps us throw money into the bucket for keeping the show alive and whatnot. I'm not going to go buy coffee with it. Although I do have a Buy Me a Coffee account, and apparently I have like $25 in it. So thank you to those who sent me $25 on that, because although it's Buy Me a Coffee, it's not for me. It's still going to the not-for-profit. Okay. Where do we go here? Melody says, I had a flight delay that left me in Moscow for 24 hours. Did you get paid? When was it? If it was within 6 years, when were you doing in Moscow? I've never been to Russia. I'd like to go. Not right now. Kind of like the wrong time to go, but it's just a beautiful place. Politics aside. Corey Lawrence wants to ask a question. Absolutely, you can. Oh, a whole bunch of gifts coming in. Thank you so much, everybody. Corey Lawrence wants to ask a question, and by all means, you can ask. Fuji says, so Melody, you're a Russian spy now? Was it Spokojnia Noche? I can't remember. I took an online course for Russian. I can't remember anything. Not really. What did I say? Let's ask ChatGPT. What does Spokojnia Noche mean in Russian? I think it's Russian. Oh, it's not even finished loading. What does Spokojnia Noche mean in Russian? And did I say it anything remotely accurately?
Pretty close. Spokojnej noci means good night. It's a very...
That says good night. I can't remember diddly squat. Okay, I'm glad. By the way, if you didn't know, you can speak to ChatGPT but I think any language, it'll respond to you. It can tutor you. I have had it translate so much for me. It's amazing. Especially when I was in Guatemala, and I had to, because Guatemala, where I was, some people speak English, most people do not. So I have recently scored level 25 on my Duolingo, and my Spanish is not as bad as it could be, but it still ain't good. So yeah, ChatGPT did help. Let's see here. Regina says, my parents each got paid $1,000 for a delayed Air Canada flight after your video. Oh my God, that's amazing. Okay, now this is awesome. Everyone's getting money here. I'm so glad to hear it. That really warms my heart. I am so happy to hear that people ran the code and got paid. That is exciting. $1,000, a couple of $1,000. Vintage wants to know, I don't want to have you as a boyfriend. I am very happily married to a wonderful woman, but I appreciate that. I'm not sure. Are you talking about my old partner at work, or are you like applying for a boyfriend position, which is not available, by the way? Okay, hang on. Let me scroll back. Abdullah wants to know what happens when you're caught driving with your G1 alone. The answer is a charge under the Highway Traffic Act for G1 drive unaccompanied. You are required to have a qualified driver in the passenger seat supervising you. They have to have a G-class license. They have to have 4 years experience. That experience for them can be combined experience with their G2 and their G. So they could have 2 years as a G2 and then 2 years as a G, or 4 years as a G2 and a day as a G, but they have to have 4 years accepted experience. And it doesn't work when they when they're anything else. So what happens is you get a charge, $110 fine. Obviously, you're not driving anywhere, so you're going to be paying for a tow truck, unless that vehicle can be put somewhere while waiting for a driver. But generally, it's a tow truck, and it's on your expense. You also get a 30-day suspension on your first conviction. A 90-day suspension will get you will be the consequence of your second conviction. And the third time you get kicked out of the driving program, you start with 0 time. So let's say you were waiting 8 months because you took a driver's course. You were waiting 8 months to get your be eligible to take your G2. You're going to start back at 0. 2EasyB58 wants to know about the tint video I posted. Oh, I haven't responded yet. I'm sorry, I've been so busy. His video is awesome. He got pulled over by a Toronto police officer, and then there were some arguments where the police officer said that they weren't allowed to have any tint, which is not accurate. So I'm going to be putting out a video which spells it out. And sadly, the police officer in question won't be happy because they were wrong. Now they were wrong in terms of the percentage permissible. They were also, in my opinion, incorrect about the obscuring the interior of the motor vehicle. Because what is obscuring? It's very, very non-specific. So is obstruction or obscuring by making it 10% less light through? If you can see inside, it's not obstructed. Not by my standards, not by the court standards. So if they wrote a ticket, I think they're going to get off. If they, but this is a good conversation, and I'm quite positive that everybody at Toronto Police already knows about this video and has already reached out to them. But this gentleman who received the ticket says he reached out to his local MPP to get the word out. The wording is terrible. Most of the Highway Traffic Act is terrible. And I think we should have more. And we've been DMing, so I'm definitely going to make that response video maybe tomorrow. But we'll make sure that the folks involved and the training video gets out from a grassroots effort. We'll contact some people in the know and make sure they get the word out. But the truth is, the law is written poorly, as are most. They're mostly written to be very subjective, and they suck. I would love it to be very specific, everything spelled out, but I unfortunately am not responsible for that. Maybe they should hire me to rewrite the HDA, without the legalese crap. Was he here? Michael, I can't pronounce, Fajowski? Michael Fajewski says, as a police officer, a freight train is going and you see someone hopped on it. Do you do anything? Maybe call it in to the GO train, to the CN police or whoever the jurisdiction is. Frankly, I doubt I'd even see it, because if I was looking at it, I probably wouldn't be a police officer driving on the highway and looking at stuff or investigating a collision. But I've done a number of fatal collisions involving trains where people were struck. Not fun. Not a good thing. I was a photographer, and I was like walking, taking pictures of parts that were left over after a 90-mile-an-hour train made contact with a person. It's not nice. When people play with trains, they tend to lose, and it gets very messy. So yeah, I'd call it in. I wouldn't go chasing it, but I'd call it in. I'd get whatever information I could to identify the train. It would probably result in the train being stopped, and then and having police be at that location to intervene. Mar wants to ask a question. Oh, Mar says, I was doing 20 over the limit and got a 3 demerit point ticket. This is about I already answered it. I just didn't see the preamble. Okay. So the answer was, see what you can get, see what the offer is. Okay. Manjot wants to know what my thoughts are on unmarked police cars. I think we need more unmarked police cars, not less. I don't know what the issue is The unmarked police car is a magical thing for catching people doing things they're not supposed to do. There's no obligation or reason we should be identifying ourselves as police going, hey, I'm here, don't break any laws while you're looking at me and I'm looking at you because then I have to do some paperwork. No, the law should be, or what should be doing is we should catch as many people who break the law because they're breaking the law. And if that means hiding to do it, that's the way to do it. Like the drone thing. I was on the radio, what was it, on Thursday, I was on Jerry Ager show, and they asked me about this woman who was given a ticket for using her phone to photograph a police drone that was photographing her using her phone as a camera. Now, I got into the nitty gritty on this because I don't necessarily, well, first of all, I don't know what the camera saw. But if the camera saw her pick up the phone, use the phone, realize she was being recorded, and then record them recording her, she deserves a ticket. If she was looking at the drone and she goes, oh my God, there's a drone, picks up her camera phone and points to take a picture of it because she thinks she's going to report it to police because it looks weird, then I don't think she deserves a ticket, even though she's violating the law. So it depends. But I think drones would make a great solution for handheld communication device charges. I think that's amazing. Anyway, I like unmarked cars. I like undercover officers. I don't know if you saw the news back in the day. There was a guy dressed up as though he was unhoused, and he went and stood with a sign that says, I'm not homeless, I am a police officer and you're about to get a ticket. And I think that would be amazing. I would put undercover officers at every intersection, but I don't think a lot of people would agree with me. Let's see here. Robin says, but marked police cars are nice. It slows down traffic. I appreciate marked as well, but I also I think there should be a mix. I don't think all of them should be unmarked. Certainly not. I like the visual deterrent as well. But, you know, it is a mix. There's a lot of use, a lot of good use for enforcement purposes. Obviously, you want to have visible deterrence in the community, but there should be for the dedicated enforcement cars should be unmarked, I think. I see the flag comments there. Ipsa Girl, Goal Crusher, how you doing? Good to see you back. What if you can only see shadows? Officer safety would be an issue for me. I agree 100% that if you can't see inside the vehicle, you can't identify the person. Shadows is not sufficient. So here's my test. If you all want to know what my test was to see if I would lay a charge for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle, it was simple. I would put your driver's license behind the window, and if I could not read your driver's license clearly, you get a ticket. That would be the test. It was a simple test, and it worked, and it was consistent for me. Because if it's dark outside and I can't see it, it was too dark. If it was bright outside, the same tint, and I could read it because it was bright outside, then it was okay. For the atmospheric conditions, that was something that went into my notes. Let's see here. Isaiah says, hey, Sean, probably a long shot, but do you know anything about the path on becoming an emergency medical technician in Canada? I don't really. I do have friends who do because they are paramedics. I have a couple of close friends that are paramedics, and I could find out what that looks like. If you want to DM me, I'll try and get some information for you, but I personally don't know anything about it. Okay. Carboys 98 wants to know if you can do a bumper swap from two different manufacturer styles, but keep the same base model. I don't know. I think that's all like looks like it. I think it's all. What is the word I'm looking for? Aesthetic? No, there's another word I'm looking for, and it's not the one I used. I don't know what that would look like. But if it passes safety, that's a Melody. Melody would know the answer to that. Can you swap bumpers? Would any bumper do? Not sure why are you making comments? Chinny says, changing out a catalytic converter for a different one that has high flow, can that be ticketed? If the high flow version is legal, then it's legal. It has to pass the requirements. It has to be legal for the road. No cat's definitely an issue, but a high flow cat could be legal, again, if it's intended for road on the use. And Ipsic Girl Gold Crusher says, good test. I like the test. It's a good test. We're talking about driver's license behind the window. Okay. Keith Bazin wants to know if I turn on a podcast on my phone and play it on my Bluetooth headphones, is that okay? The act of picking up your phone, turning it on and pressing play, not legal. Wearing headphones and driving with it already playing before you put it in gear and hit the road, that would be illegal. Jonathan wants to know if being an auxiliary officer would be good enough for that. If you're an auxiliary officer, you are potentially a great volunteer. If you're an auxiliary who never shows up and the sergeant doesn't know what you look like because you've never been to the station after you graduated, not a good look. But if you're an active volunteer, that could be a great feather in your cap for volunteerism. I was an auxiliary officer for 12 years before becoming a police officer. I was also employed by the service as a court officer at the same time. Medic Eric says, pretty terrible times for TPS, wild news out of that service. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are, I'm glad they caught bad people, brought them to the open and are prosecuting them, and we'll hear what happens in court. Like, I don't know if they did what is alleged. If they did what is alleged, that's bad. But it also must be understood that it's those people who are bad or did bad things, not the whole service, not policing as a whole. Great people go and put their lives on the line every single day in service to the community, and these people and the choices and actions they may or may not have made don't reflect the rest of the community of police. The rest are just people trying to help people. All right. Okay, Melody's answer on the whole bumper swap was, as long as it functions as it should not be a problem. I'm awesome. That's awesome. Not I'm awesome. It's awesome that Melody answered and we have an answer. I like that. Why do people not understand the use of bus lanes in Toronto? People don't understand bus lanes. They don't understand streetcar bypasses. They don't understand driveways, stop signs, red lights, yellow lights, green lights, signals. It's endless. It's endless. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. Definitely, they don't understand bus lanes. We're talking donuts here? Is it pachki? Is that what you wrote? I'm not going to try and pronounce that properly, but I think that's what you said. If it's raspberry filled, you're on. I'll have a donut day with you. Can you drive a vehicle with only theft and fire insurance? No, Rob Rogers. I have charged people. I have stopped them and charged them, and their answer was, I was just taking it out for a drive, because get the engine running, and no. That's not an insured vehicle. It's not insured for the road. That is a fine. I don't know where it's dry in here. That is driving with no insurance, and that's the $5,000 to $25,000 fine, and up to 6 months in jail. Okay. Oh, this person's a peach. I don't know if they may have already been muted, but I'm muting them again. Okay. They blocked them. I muted them. Melody blocked them, and rightfully so. New time slot. Bella Queen says, new time slot, been a long time to hear your voice. You know what? It's not so new. I've been doing the 9 p.m. This was 10 p.m. I was really behind schedule. But I really wanted to make sure I got out and did the live today. I missed y'all because usually it's Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. and Wednesdays at 9 p.m. And if I miss it, I'm like, I feel so guilty. I wanted to do it yesterday, couldn't. In fact, I'm putting off a ton of work to do this for the now hour and 20 minutes that I've been live. And then I don't know if I'm going to get another live this week, so I wanted to make sure I got it in. Tomorrow I'm filled with meetings. I have a day full of meetings. And a bunch of work, and then Friday I'm going to go back to the auto show, so I won't be able to go live. Maybe I'll go live from the auto show on Friday, give you a little tour, throw my stabilized camera on. I got a 360 camera I've not really played with. Maybe we'll do some 360 stuff. Tanner DeLuca says, I'm applying to the Calgary, Alberta Police. How does the background check work, and what references do I need? I don't know. So Alberta Police, is that RCMP that you're applying to, or is that a local police service? Or that's Calgary Police. What am I saying? Of course, it's local. I would look at their website. I'd look and try and get as much information as possible. Happy to decode that for you if you want to DM me, but I don't want to get into it on the live stream. But ultimately, when you are choosing someone who is, giving you a reference, make sure they're people who like you, because I've heard of people giving references of people who don't really know you, but you think it's good because, well, they sound impressive or they have a good job. I know people personally who have put references in and then found out that that person didn't really like them. So check with them first to make sure that, they know about you and they're planning to say nice things. Obviously, if it's baloney, not so good. You want someone who's going to give you a good reference, who really believes in who you are and knows what you are about. Background check is a very thorough background check, ultimately. Some police services do door knocks. They walk your street and ask, does this person have loud music? Is this person someone who's, arrogant, revs their engine, out all night, smoking, drinking? Have any complaints, any issues? And if they, find something, that's going to hurt you. So whatever it is, make sure it coincides with who you are. So if you are someone who had loud music and you had some problems, they're going to find out. You're better off saying, a couple of years ago, I used to party. I used to have loud music. I pissed off the neighbors. But you know what? I learned from that. They were upset. I didn't want to have problems. So I stopped doing that. And I haven't had any issues since that, like 3, 5, 8 years ago. Whatever happened. You can't lie out of it. You need to lean into the truth because they're going to find out. Better they find out from you than somebody else. Okay. I got a ticket for disturbing the peace. Does that show up on a criminal record check? Disturbing the peace, you got a ticket? Criminal record checks will show criminal convictions. They don't usually show any ticket for under the Provincial Offences Act. I've never actually charged anybody disturbing the peace. So, is there a, why do I would think that sounds criminal to me? It's going to sound silly that I have to look this up, but I'm going to look it up. That sounds criminal to me, even though I've never laid it. Disturb the peace. Cause disturbance is criminal. I'm wondering your wording. Let's see. Under POA, I don't even know where that would be. I think it's criminal. So if you were convicted, that you said you got a ticket for it, was that I'd like to know exactly what you were charged under, which act you were charged. Let me know. Roaz Bari says, "Oh my God, long time no see and chat. It's been a while." Urbana says, "Valid plates in car, but not mounted, tow or ticket." If you have the valid plates, I wouldn't tow, but you'd get a ticket. Why are they in the car? Why are they not mounted? You get tickets for everything, but you don't necessarily have to tow the vehicle. Mount the vehicle. Well, for me, right? Like, mount it there. What are you waiting for? You're really asking that a lot. Is it like a bug on a windshield? Not following your question. Yeah, I wasn't happy with that whole hang-up thing. If I got a ticket, we talked about that. Where else you online? I'm on YouTube. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm everywhere. I'm on Kick, Twitch. Rumble may even be connected. Oh, who made this comment? Oh, somebody sent me a unhappy streamer emoji. What platform is that on? On Kick. And somebody else says, "Hey, homie, I can share your stream in a Kick." Okay. I love the people who like try and sell me followers. I'm good. I don't want fake followers. I just want to help people. All right. Who would cops ticket for test driving an old Facebook Marketplace vehicle with no insurance? Who would cops ticket? So the drive no insurance is to the owner, or the permit drive no insurance. So they would ticket the registered owner at very least. Casino 107 says, "Can I drive with no insurance if I bought the car with bill of sale?" No, you cannot drive a vehicle without insurance, period. No negotiation. Jesse Owens, you're funny. Okay. Melody muted them. Bray says, "Hey man, big fan, much love what you do, much appreciated, thanks very much." Oh, that's the train. Okay, train versus human, bug on windshield. Now I get it. Yeah, it was gruesome stuff. I ran into somebody, I don't know if I mentioned this. When I was in Guatemala, I flew back in a stopover in Florida, and I got on the plane in Florida, and as I'm walking to my seat, I hear, "Hey, are you Sean Shapiro?" And I had a brief conversation with, I think it was Chris or Andrew. Don't ask me why those two names pop out. And if you're Chris or Andrew, hey, how's it going? Nice meeting you on the flight. But he says, yeah, we're big fans. And my mom listens to you on News Talk 1010. It was awesome to meet him. He left. Like I meant to go see him when he was, I had something for him. I have challenge coins, VoiceOver Cop challenge coins, and I was going to give him one. I still want to give him one, but I lost track of you at the airport. So we deplaned. I couldn't figure out who you are and where you went by the time I got off the plane, and missed that window. So if it was you, reach out. Okay. What's this? Carmichael Craig says, won't answer my question. Carmichael Craig, I don't see a question from you. Maybe ask it again. How often do tort claims get filed with risk management for police civil rights violations? That's from Ida. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the answer to your question. I'm sorry. Like a tort is a criminal or a case that's brought forward saying you had loss or you're looking for money. I think that's generally the way you describe it. When you sue your insurance company, it's the tort. It's the is where you're basically saying, gimme. I think. I'm not a lawyer. Clearly. Fuji says, with Bluetooth, why does anyone need to hold a phone? And you are absolutely on the money, my friend. There's no excuse. If you talk to your phone, it will dial. It will set your destination in the GPS. There is no reason to type to it, and it will give you all voice commands. You don't even need to look at it. You could listen to it with a headphone. You could have it on speaker. There ain't no reason to touch it. User lots of numbers says, if at a red light and there's an advanced green, can you turn right if no cars, no pedestrians? If you're at a red light and there's an advanced green, it's not a red light anymore. It's an advanced green. Do you mean advanced green in the other direction and it's red for you? I need to understand your question. Let's see here. So if it's green for them, advanced, and you're making the right, you can make the right if it's safe to do so, but you have to ensure that you can complete your turn in safety. Otherwise, you're in the wrong. But you are allowed to make a right on red. And if that's what you're seeing, it just has to be done in safety. If you have an advanced green and you're just flashing green for all your direction, then it's not red. So then you can, of course, turn. So I think you're asking the first question, the first scenario. Shashi says, I got an improper muffler ticket. I replaced my muffler with a larger muffler. Okay. It was improper. Why? Is it improper? First of all, are you in the province of Ontario? If you're in Alberta, that could be a valid ticket. Improper muffler, if it doesn't muffle or reduce smoke, or if it's too loud, like just a muffler isn't a muffler unless it muffles. So is your larger muffle not muffly enough? These are the questions you got to ask. Is it a straight pipe? Stephen Johnson says, hey, Sean, 29-year commercial driver here and sad to say I'm hanging it up. You're giving up the commercial driver? Listen, it's a tough go. I feel for you guys out on the road. People don't respect anywhere. Like, they don't respect what you do. I would not want to drive an articulated vehicle if you're talking about a semi. I would not want to drive a dump truck because I look at what people do on the road every day, and it must drive you bananas to see the unsafe operation of small vehicles that could very quickly become under your wheel. So if you're hanging it up because you're tired of it, enjoy your next career or retirement. If you're hanging it up because you can't take it anymore because it's bonkers out there, then I totally get it. It's kind of sad how some people in the comments didn't know law, and we need, yes, it is unfortunate. Not a firefighter says, yesterday a gasoline tanker passed our fire engine, lights and sirens, and in a no passing zone on a curve. Are you kidding me? Man, There is nothing common about common sense. By the way, not a firefighter. Thank you very much. I see that you sent a whole bunch of gifts, and that's very kind of you. Any gifts that are received on the channel go to the not-for-profit called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. Just letting you know. Okay, I got to wrap it up soon. An hour and a half. I'm about 30 minutes longer on the live than I planned on being. But you know what? I missed yesterday's, so you're getting the extra long to make up for it. Let's go down here. Oh, Mark Tomaszewski says, my sugar levels are seen on my phone. Sorry, when my alarm is going off, I need room to check. So you're talking about it's a medical reason why you can articulate that. Like as a police officer, if I was pulling you over because I saw you look at your phone and it wasn't in an appropriate mode, but you could say, look, I have a transmitter on my arm. An alarm went off. I can verify the date and time of that alarm. I pulled over to look at it, or I looked at it because if you don't manage your sugar, you could be in an emergency situation that would be. I think that even if the cop charged you, I think you would get off in court. I don't think you'd be convicted. Is it specifically permitted? No, but I think you have a story that would be sufficient because you can prove it, because the alarm would be logged, right? And it would coincide with the amount, like it would just make sense. I had someone get off a ticket. Dude, you're gonna laugh. Telephone. I'm watching them. I know they're on their telephone. They testified that they were holding their wallet in their hand, driving with their wallet. Absolutely full of crap, a lie, a bold-faced lie. And they got off in court. What can I say? What can I say? You know what? Sometimes a crappy story is as good as a really good story, but your story is legit. All right. What we got here? Bray says, hey man, big fan. I think we already saw Bray, but thank you again, Bray. Vars19 says, your lives and videos make me very sad. Why? What is it sad here? We had people who got money. We found people who did, we call it the Air Fairness search, airfairness.com. Awesome. So excited about that. They got money, like thousands of dollars. That's amazing. That I'm so thankful that I was able to bring that to your attention and you got paid. That is awesome. We had people who found out that they can have a bumper swap, did not break the law. We found people who, all sorts of things. A lot of people who totally learned something. That's what we're about. This channel's for. I still don't understand what the other comment was from Carmichael. Maybe we read it, maybe we didn't. Rodrigo Diaz de Rive says, my daughter cut a few pieces off my license while playing with scissors. Do I need to replace it? Your license, your card, I would replace it. Does it say that it has to be perfect? Can it be damaged? I would replace it. Would I give someone a ticket for it? No, but you should replace it. Why did you cut it off? Don't let her play with your wallet and scissors. How old's your daughter? She's 25. We got problems. Unruly Boss, thanks for the follow. Keith said, we talked about that already. Carrie Michael Glazer says, hi from Detroit. Just got off noons, 26 years still. Carrie, stay safe out there. You guys do it different. Like my cousin's a captain. I think he's a captain now in Michigan. But not in Detroit. He's outside of Detroit. He often goes into Detroit. And he did nights for like the first 8 years of his job. So, yeah, if you follow me, I'll follow you back, and we can chat about life in Detroit. I'd be interested to know. His dad, he was FBI. Like I got some law enforcement family in Michigan. Okay. The Midas touch. Do you think cops would be far more cautious when approaching a vehicle if legislation eased gun law? I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Do you mean would cops be more cautious if guns were legal? I don't think that would change a thing, because legal gun owners would be the people that would have guns, and those people you don't have to worry about. The criminals we have to worry about now. So it wouldn't change a thing. We have to be cautious already. You got charged for disturbing the peace for yelling at someone in a parking lot? Interesting. Carrie says, first time seeing this and you. Awesome. I'm glad that you were able to catch the stream. I've been doing this for like 5 years. I did it as a police officer on a different channel, on the Traffic Services channel, which I think still shows up as like 750 or 650,000 followers. When I left the job, I started using my personal account, and we're up to 50,000. So it's cool. We're growing. Can you drive someone else's car that has no insurance, but you have insurance? No, the vehicle must be insured, not the person. So you have insurance does not magically insure the vehicle. The vehicle must be insured. Tort is civil. Thank you, Carrie. That makes a lot of sense. I remember when I had I hired a lawyer to fight something or to represent me in my crash, because I was in a crash that where I was injured. It was the tort. So I'm applying that logic. That makes a lot more sense the way you put it. Thank you. Will Jacob says, I'm a guy in my mid-30s starting police academy on Monday. Wow. Office worker my whole life. Any advice? Well, first of all, where are you? Will, I'd love to know. Are you going to are you in Ontario? Are you going to Elmer? Or are you somewhere else? But the blanket advice, regardless of where you are, is don't forget who you are. Don't give up your non-police friends. Don't give up your non-police hobbies. Don't get consumed by it. And as much as it is a career and a calling and the best job in the world, know that you're allowed to be human. You're allowed to have feelings, and that asking for help, whether it be through therapy or friends, is okay. What you don't want to do is eat those feelings or drink those feelings and hide those things and hold them down. Talk to people. And it's okay to talk. Obviously, as a police officer, there's things that are secret. You cannot communicate outside, even with your spouse. That makes it hard. That's where therapists can be good. I know a lot of guys. I've talked to therapists at times. My friend was murdered. I mean, that was tough stuff. You got to talk to people. You got to get it out. And people tend to hold things in because they don't want to share it with their loved ones. They don't want to trauma dump and say, life is terrible. I just saw a kid in a situation, a dead person, of this, that. You gotta find an outlet that's positive. And helping people even more, volunteering and getting involved with stuff is great, but make sure you keep your life outside of policing. Good luck to you. I really enjoyed police college, and I think you will too. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Let's see here. Hotpot says, I test drove a Facebook car and the owner said it was insured, but she lied and I got it. You can't get a ticket. You don't own the vehicle. If you were driving a Facebook car and the owner said it was, like, they can't charge you. It's not your car. It's an owner responsibility, not a driver responsibility thing. If you were operating believing that it was insured, that's it. Now, if you fail to surrender insurance card, that's a ticket you could get. But if you had your own insurance card, you could have not, like, if you had your own car with insurance and you said, here's proof of insurance for my car, that actually deals with the ticket of failing to show proof of insurance, oddly enough. But they told you it was lawful. That's why they'd be eligible for the ticket. You should not be I would fight that if you're in Ontario. Fight that and give them the information for the registered owner. V8 475 Victor 8475 Victor says, will learn to do push-ups. Yes, it's a really good skill. I was just doing push-ups before doing the show. Push-ups are good. I love and hate them at the same time. Let's see here. If you saw 6 cars doing 30 above the highway, how would you choose which to pull? The lucky one wins. The one that I caught up to and could safely stop. The one in the front, the one in the middle. It depends. The one, if I can call a friend and pull them all over, I would. If I could get in front of them and stop the line safely, I would try. Like it all depends. Chances are that would be something where I would probably light them up and see who pulled over. And if someone ran, they might be the one that I took off after and let the other guys go. It's hard to say. I got to give, thank you. Whatever the join my club thing, I very rarely catch the animations, but It's Aiden sent a couple of gifts and thank you. And Andre Saborin also sent one. Thank you very much. Lawrence Smith says, there he is, Mr. T.O. Okay, what we got here? Scrolling down, I'm going to try and catch up to the end of this. I got 15 other posts or questions. I'm going to try and get to the end. And I might just call it a day. Let me see here. Ipsic Girl Gold Crusher says, thank you for sticking around. I have not been able to catch your show in a bit with my shifts. Understood. I want to talk to you more about Ipsic. I want to get back into Ipsic. I used to be an Ipsic shooter. Now I can hardly get out to train and on a regular. I miss it. H. Coulterman says, can we talk about lane splitting in Ontario? What is actually allowed? As a car driver, I hate the fact that motorcycles are speeding by me out of nowhere. It seems so dangerous. It is so dangerous. It's not legal anywhere in Canada. It is, at very least, it's careless driving. At worst, it's dangerous, criminal dangerous driving, probably meeting stunt driving in the middle. Not safe, not legal. The only and people say, well, it's legal in some places, not in Canada. The whole of Canada, it is not legal. Now, talk about the states because everyone says, well, it's legal in the states. It's legal in 5 states, Hawaii being one of them. Arizona, I think, is the other. California, Florida, it's 5 states. Everywhere else, it's illegal. Yeah, not good. Even in California, where it says that it's legal, it's acknowledged. Like if you go to the California Highway Patrol website, it says it's unsafe. It says it's dangerous, but it's legal. So take caution. Speed differential is possibly the biggest contributor to the reason why it's so unsafe. Also, do you watch how people drive? Half of them are on their cell phone. A motorcyclist going down the middle is really putting their life and everyone else's at risk. And it's one thing, because I got to tell you, lane splitting versus lane filtering, low speed, walking speed, getting to the front of the line, trying not to be the bumper in the back. I really don't have an issue with the slow speed, just trying to not, because you don't want to be the bumper. You don't want that person, that bozo who's on their phone to ram the car in front. Well, if you're the motorcycle, you get smushed. So a lot of guys will go in between the cars to get a couple of car lengths up to give themselves a bumper buffer. I totally respect that. As a motorcyclist myself, I respect that. Driving at speed, however, I don't. Oh, okay. Ipsic Girl, send me a message. I'd love to know what's going on with that. I think I may need to requalify for my black badge. I did it, I think, because I haven't done a shoot in a period of time that I have to renew, which means I might need to do it again, which is, don't threaten me with a good time. 1,300 rounds downrange. I imagine we didn't even need 1,300 rounds, but they told us bring 1,300 rounds to do the black badge qualification. I had the best time. Yeah, DM me. Let me know what range you're at. I think my range is still doing active IPSC stuff. Okay. HTO Tint Mobile Unit says, hi, most of customers want dark tint for 2 front windows. What should I do? Should I do my job? I understand that you, as a tint installer, have a difficult situation. If you say no, somebody else will say yes. I know many tint installers will create a waiver saying, we acknowledge that this is not a legal amount of tint. However, the client is taking on all responsibility and claiming this is going to be a show car and not used on the road. Something to protect yourself, because I guarantee you it's going to change. The law is going to make you as the installer responsible eventually. It's going to, because something has to be done to change it. I had some lawmakers in Alaska, which I've still yet to respond to, who reached out because they're trying to pass the laws there. It's just a matter of time. We talked about it in Toronto about going after the installers under the current laws based on articulating how you have contributed to making the roads unsafe through your application of tint. But here's the deal. At least acknowledging it on paper and getting them to sign it with a copy of their ID and everything there, you can say, I warned him, I told him, he promised. He said he was going to tow the car and not drive it, and then he just drove away. I could not control that. Just like mechanics, they can't stop you from driving away with an unsafe motor vehicle. They try, but they don't have the authority to stop. But the difference is, if you have a broken vehicle or an unsafe vehicle, you take it to a mechanic, they tell you there's a bunch of stuff wrong with it, and then they say you shouldn't drive, and they say, screw you, I'm going. Well, you can't stop them. The difference is with a tint installer, you're applying the film. You're making it unsafe by the work you're doing. It's a really tough place to be. I would say that I don't install anything darker than that on the front. And, I'll sell you the tint. You can apply it yourself, but we won't do it. And you can do it. You can be up and up on that. You might lose some money of it because of it, but that's a you situation. It's Aiden sent a whole bunch of gifts. Thank you very much, Aiden. That money goes to the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education. Thank you. Okay. And you have a question. I see it there. It's Aiden says, hello, I'm visiting Alberta this summer. Will my G1 allow me to drive on the street there? So technically speaking, your G1 is only valid in the province of Ontario. However, most provinces will accept it if you follow all the conditions of Ontario. So you have a G1, that means you have to be supervised by a qualified G-class driver or the equivalent. But it's generally a bad idea. If you're visiting and you're a G1 driver, you're just learning how to drive, and you shouldn't be doing that while vacationing or temporarily hanging out there. You should be focused on learning how to drive in a place that's comfortable and you're familiar with. So you shouldn't be. I would check with their local authorities before doing anything. Now, in Alberta, I think you can get a learner's permit at 14 years old. Now, here's the funny thing. Reverse the situation. If someone from Alberta, 14 years old, came to Ontario with a valid learner's permit, could they drive in Ontario? No, because you have to be 16. So even though they have a learner's permit, we wouldn't allow them to drive here. Twin C wants to know, what else do I need to know before buying a used vehicle? This is there's so much to know. One, you want to take it to a trusted mechanic. Just because it's certified doesn't mean diddly. Take it to a mechanic you trust and to let them give you their opinion on it. You need a used vehicle package, and I would suggest going to a company that does a proper background check on the vehicle, which is what's the Carfax. I have some friends who left the Toronto Police, retired, and went to work for Carfax, and I think that Carfax is the bee's knees with knowing everything that happens to a vehicle. Crashes and history that you don't think exists when they do the report. Best $25 or whatever they charge, period. Ed Fleming, brother, how you doing? He says, hey, Shep, popping in for a quick visit. Love your lives. You're a plethora of information. Been watching a lot of international television. It's always interesting to see how different people pronounce things. And plethora, battery, so many different things. So many different ways to say the same thing. Lukey Pookie says, how come people can drive 100 kilometers an hour on a posted 80 kilometer an hour highway in Ontario and 120 on a 401? It's because they haven't been caught. It's triage. It's not legal. Speeding is speeding. D-Saw says, I think you should have just stayed a cop. You know what? I'm always going to be a cop in my heart. I just don't have arrest authority anymore. But it's funny, I've been asked a lot lately, like, would I go back? Do you miss it? I do miss it. Would I go back? I don't know. We'll see. Magdalena says, if someone hits my car and drives off and returns 5 minutes after, is that hit and run? People often make mistakes. And while technically they left the scene, they returned. Maybe they caught themselves in a panic mode. I wouldn't charge someone for hit and run if they came back 5 minutes later. People panic. They do dumb stuff. It's Aiden says, I had a police car go through traffic to the front of the line at a red light with no siren. I had a police car go through traffic to the front of the lane at a red light with no siren. I'm not following. How do you mean they went to the front of the light? Like they drove into oncoming traffic to go to the front? Okay. How'd they get, because unless you're talking about police motorcycle, just driving between traffic, I get that. So Aiden, you gotta spell it out for me. I'm not following. I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Oh, cool. I caught that about the IPSC. Thank you. Robin says, citizen's arrest, it's a thing. Citizen's arrest is a legit thing, but there's rules. But I don't know what we're talking about with the citizen's arrest. What offense did we discuss that you would apply a citizen's arrest for? It is something that you can do. It's what security guards do, because they don't have authority beyond that. They do have some expanded rights under the fact that they are representative of the property owner. But yeah, It's you try and put hands on someone and you don't know what you're doing. You might eat a knuckle sandwich. So citizens arrests are risky. Let's see here. Why do so many police take roids yet they're an illegal substance? I'm not aware of a lot of police officers taking roids. I don't see giant muscular police officers. There's some gym rats that are police officers, and they might. I don't know, but I've not met any who do. Can you discuss dealer plates on a car? Dealer plates on a car. What do you want to know about them? Car has to be in the inventory, ready for sale. That's the condition. In order to, I saw a video about that too. Toronto police officer charged someone in relation to dealer plates. They bought at auction. For me, and the only description that I'm aware of is the car must be in your inventory. Now, does that happen instantly when you purchase it at the auction, or does it have to be transferred in? That's an answer a question I don't have an answer for. James says, I'm 18 years old, graduated in 2025, and I would like to become a constable. Am I too young? If you asked me that 10 years ago, I would have said probably, because historically we weren't hiring people, or the average age was 30 years old, 32 years old going through. Today, if you're an exceptional candidate, I think that they would consider you at 18, 19, 20. The minimum, I think, to apply is 18. But generally speaking, you don't have enough life experience at 18 to get hired, but you never know. And I wouldn't count yourself out. Let them tell you no and to come back. And here's the thing. Maybe you become a parking enforcement officer or you become a special constable and you get some life experience in those roles while you're working towards your pension and all that jazz. What happens if I get pulled over for being on phone, but you call 911? If you're being pulled over because you're calling 911, then you're on with 911. Then there's an exemption under the Highway Traffic Act for using your phone while you are calling 911. So that's legitimate use. You're calling for an emergency purpose, not calling your mom as a dispatcher. Just saying. So it all depends, but you're legally exempt. You're calling because that's the guy I'm following. He's an impaired driver. He's drunk. That's not against the law. And sadly, they might pull you over thinking they had not knowing the whole situation. Hypothetically, if I had a private land and a private driveway with no public access and I had a go-kart, would I get in trouble for drinking on them? So if you are driving under the influence, you are eligible for operating a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs or alcohol. You could be charged criminally. Are they coming onto your property to use a breathalyzer or a roadside screening device because they think you're drunk? Why would they think that? Would you be eligible? Yes. However, is that a real concern? I probably wouldn't be too worried. Aiden says they drove between cars, but what were they driving? Was it a motorcycle driving between cars with no siren, or was it a police car? And if there was a police car, how did they fit between the cars? But a police car doesn't need to have lights and sirens to do things. In fact, the only time police cars need lights and sirens is to go through in the province of Ontario anyway, is to go through a signalized intersection that's displaying a red light to them. If they're going to be going against that light, they have to activate the lights and sirens for the purposes of crossing through. Magdalena says, my boyfriend just got a covered plate ticket, but he just had the frame from the dealership. That is an obstruction. You're obscuring the plate. You're not allowed to do that. And I don't know why anybody wants to advertise for free the dealership they bought their car from. Not legal. Is it a ticket you normally get? No. It's not as common as one might think. Braden the Great says, if someone rear-ended me and stopped to give out an insurance... What? If someone rear-ended me and stopped to give out an insurance wise. Don't know what your question is, my friend. I'm trying to decode that. It's not coming through. Can I keep winter tires on all year? That's from Anthony Souza. Is it against the law? No. Is it smart? Definitely not. Winter tires do not work well in summer. They're designed for specific conditions. I actually have a podcast episode you can go look at on YouTube, which is all about tires, winter tires. And the fact that they want to change the designations to explain how they work better, because winter doesn't explain it. It's a softer compound. You'll destroy them in a season, and they will actually take longer to stop. They're not good for wet roads. Their snow tires are good for snow. Winter tires are winter tires, not summer tires. You'll destroy them, and you will take longer to stop, and it is unsafe. But is it illegal? No. People did that a lot after COVID. I've not heard from anybody who saw that video. That's to TZB58. A lot of people sent it to me, but I don't think it was coppers who reached out to me. Okay. HRH, thanks for the follow and thanks for the gifts. Hot Mess is obsessed with my shirt. I love this shirt. I can't tell you how many people have mentioned it. It is also one of my favorite things purchased at Disney recently. Saul Goodman says, do you support speed cameras? Do I support the speed camera ban by Doug Ford? No, I do not. I wrote an article that was published in the Globe and Mail in regards to that. I am absolutely against the banning of speed cameras. They are effective tools for slowing people down. We have seen a major increase in speed since their removal, as well as a funding tool. Why should people not be separated from their money when they choose to break the law and put people's lives at risk in zones? I don't get it. Maddie, thanks so much for the gift. Mancy Marie says, I know someone who got a DUI on a scooter with no driver's license. Correct. A scooter, an electric scooter, or a gas-powered scooter. They're both motor vehicles under the under the Criminal Code of Canada. They both qualify. So, golf cart, Barbie, what are those little cars? Those are motor vehicles according to the law. It's only the Highway Traffic Act that doesn't qualify them. So Mancy updated and said electric scooter, 100%. E-bike is a motor vehicle under the criminal code. So it's anything other than muscular. They are eligible. Absolutely. What is this? Kanatsu Gold, good to see you, my friend. Been a while. It says, TikTok warriors that try to get a cop angry and film so they can get a complaint to a ride along. You know what? I really like the efforts made by police officers in the States to train media and activists and bring them through CQB training and scenario training. By the way, speaking of scenario training, I am going to be putting together a trip to Florida. I don't want to hear about the elbows up business. That's not my thing. One of the most amazing places I've ever seen, I've ever experienced, is in Sanford, Florida. It is called Decision Tactical, pointing to the camera. I went there. I was doing scenario training with them. They're freaking amazing. You've never seen anything like it. Check out their webpage. If you want an opportunity to see what training should be for police officers and for anyone who uses a firearm, because in Florida, you could be a civilian who's armed, the most amazing thing. I went and did their training. I've made an agreement to organize. I shouldn't say agreement. I worked out a deal that I can bring some people through, and if I do a tour, I'll get them some discounts. So we're going to do some organized events. I'm bringing some coppers down. I want everyone to try this. This is the most amazing thing, like nothing you've ever experienced. And if you're a copper and you're watching, this is gold. You got to check it out. DecisionTactical.com. Look at their YouTube videos. No live rounds. You have to take your firearm off, put it in a locker. You go through a metal detector before going in. Safe is safe. It's a bar and restaurant at night. During the day, it's police training. At night, they have it's like a Disney park for people who like guns and target stuff. IPSC Girl Goal Crusher. I think you would love that. Check it out. But there's nothing like it anywhere in the world. I could do a whole show just on that. And maybe I will. Let's see here. Chase wants to know if you can, if a cop can radar you if you're coming up on them and you and the cop are both driving in this scenario. Yes, we have moving radar. We have radar and we have antennas to the front and to the back, and we can find you coming up to us, passing us, going the other way. With laser, you can get us coming up to us or going the other way. Both are absolutely measurable. 2 hours. We're about to hit 2 hours. Drinking and driving is a criminal offense. Over 0.08 BAC is the HTA offense. It's 0.05 for HTA. It's 0.08 for criminal. Peter Booma wants to know, stopping for a bus on a 4-lane road is the only time you do not stop. Is the only time you do not stop. It's a raised median or painted lines. It's not the difference. It's divided or undivided. So what qualifies as a divided highway? My best example is the Highway 401. It's basically a one-way in each direction. Even if it had a curb for 4 feet, that does not make it divided. It has to be a truly divided road. Caden says, you know a lot about laws. I know a little bit. There's stuff I don't remember. I've forgotten more than most people will ever know. But I do try and stay up to date on all of that stuff. And where I really know stuff is traffic related. And of course, I know stuff about other provincial acts, but by no means am I an expert outside of traffic. Let's see here. Shouldn't everyone have an obstructed plane ticket since almost every car has license plate frames? Technically, yeah, you could pull over anybody. If the officer pulled you over and gave you a discussion opportunity, and instead of giving you or getting respect, they got grief, that might be a ticket that would have been a warning. Like, it's all attitude at that point. Anthony Souza says, I get new tires every winter and run them all year. You are making a mistake, my friend. Anthony, you may find yourself in a collision that would be avoidable if you had better tires. Winter tires are not meant for anything other than winter. Yeah, talk to your tire people. If they're telling you that's a great summer tire, they're lying to you. If it's a good rain tire, they're lying to you, which doesn't make sense because tire people know lots of stuff about tires. And if they're telling you, like, people think it's a soft rubber compound tire and think with a racing concept that, oh, it must be like racing slicks or something, totally different compound. You're just melting your tires. Highway speeds would be crap, and longer stopping distances. Don't do it. Change your ways. Braden the Great says, I mean, if they hit me in the back of my car and stop to exchange information, is that illegal? They hit you. Now they're legally obligated to exchange information. If it's less than $5,000 between both vehicles and damage, then they can exchange information and go on their way. If it's more than $5,000, you're obligated to report that collision to police. El Rose says, I was in a hit and run in Toronto. The cops said the Gardner Expressway are not on the, not on the FU. I don't know what we're talking about. I was in a hit and run in Toronto. The cops said the Gardner Expressway are not on the FU. I don't know. Please give me the rest. I want to answer you, El, but I don't know what the question is. Liam says, haven't seen this guy since like 2023. I've been here. I left in 2024 I left the police in September of 2024. Yeah. So 2024 in September I left the police, but I nearly immediately started doing this on my own just to reconnect with everybody and say hey. So Liam, follow. We do this. I tend to go live. I tried doing it every day. I can't do it every day, but you can generally get me Tuesdays at 10 a.m. and then Wednesdays at 9 p.m. The biggest Erm says, you going to pull someone over for not having a front license plate displayed, or is that a slow day? I'd pull them over every day for that. I used to pull people over all the time for that because everyone knows they have to have it. It's a requirement. If you're not doing it, what else are you not doing? It's the entryway into no insurance, no license, like drugs, alcohol, guns. Like it's called a heat score. You are inviting me to investigate you by not having a front plate. So if people want the intention or the attention, then they're doing it. Were you a Toronto cop? Sorry, this is the biggest Earn asking if I was a Toronto cop, and if so, what region? I was Toronto. I was a traffic services officer, and I was a motor squad officer. You know, motor officers are all about their traffic. Storm Games and Vlog says, good evening, Sean. Good evening to you. I have gone way over time, but now I feel much better about missing yesterday because that's 2 shows in one. Okay. Clap says, miss seeing you at the auto show. I was at the auto show on Media Day, and I was back yesterday. Let's see here. Steven Sparks wants to know what the background check includes. Everything. Your education, your neighbors, your everything. Whole bunch of stuff just popped in. Let me see where I was. Because Elle was saying that cameras aren't on all the time. Cameras might be on, but they don't record. That's the issue. So yes, the cameras on the Gardner are live monitored, but not recorded necessarily. The Don says, bro, I have $12K in fines. How do I get my license back? You pay the $12K in fines. That's how you get your license back. It's a simple one, but it's the way. What's your opinion on the education support taken away? That's from Mike 007. What education support are we talking about? Are you talking about the free OPC, is that gone now? Because for 3 years, the Ontario government was paying for the Ontario Provincial or the Ontario Police College. I had to pay out of pocket. People were getting it for free for 3 years. That may have ended. And if so, I think it's actually better. I know people who wanted to get the benefit of that won't be happy, but I'll tell you, I really worked hard because I was paying for it. And I've heard rumor that many people who got a free education at the police college take it for granted. And that's a shame. It's a shame. But if that's not what you're talking about, please tell me what you are talking about. What is my favorite donut? That is the question from John Galt. Raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme. If I had to pick one and only have one, I don't have them on the regular, but that would be my favorite. Storm Games and Vlogs says, can I get in trouble if I want to make my expired old license into a keychain? Well, you're only allowed to have one license at a time. Carry one license. So if you have an expired one and you have a current one, you're technically breaking the law. But if you want to take everything off except the address and picture, then it's no longer a license. So you could mess with it, I suppose. As long as it's not looking like and representing as a license. That's what I think. That's my opinion. Captain Mimo Pirate Ship says, what state? The province of Ontario, Canada. I am not in a state. I am in Canada. but I visit the States. I'm just not there right now. Aaron says, thoughts on doing 5 to 10 miles per hour based on the road or highway? People do it. Miles per hour. I'm in Canada. That's going to be 10 miles per hour. You multiply it by 1.6 to get to kilometers per hour. So, it's 16 kilometers per hour. That is a ticket that carries demerit points. And, that's something I would pull someone over for. Let's see here. Also, but the background check from Steven Sparks, driving history is a huge thing. Huge, huge thing. Zane in the live says, most bizarre thing you came across while being on duty. Yeah, I don't think that's for TikTok's ears. Lots of bizarre stuff. Lots of bizarre stuff. And Claps, I'll be back at the auto show on Friday, although not the entire day. I'll usually the start till about 2 p.m. 1 p.m. depending. I can't do the evenings, unfortunately. Diego says, what if it's a plate border instead of a full cover? Still illegal. You can't cover any portion of the plate. Chase says, how come the OPP does not care about muffler deleted cars while London Regional does? How do you know they don't care? Just because you haven't been pulled over for it doesn't mean they don't care. Also, it depends on the individual officer. Like, I care about muffler deletes. I am annoyed as all get out by cars that are making it difficult for people to live. Now, people don't understand that, especially in a city. Like, you talk about London Regional, which is an area where people live versus the highway. Now, I can hear cars on the highway that have no muffler. It's a loud and obnoxious sound. You really, really notice it when you're in bed and you can hear, 3 kilometers away, people driving up the main strip. It affects and negatively impacts communities. It is terrible. Babies trying to sleep day or night. People trying to work from home day or night. Like, not cool. But I would ticket anybody that I saw with that, and I would aggressively ticket anyone that was doing high speed baloney with a straight pipe, because it is so obnoxious. Nobody likes the sound of your car, and if they do, they haven't listened to it long enough. And I appreciate a muscle car with a good rumble, but no pipe, like a straight shot, it's just miserable. Alchemist says, license appeal tribunal realistically need to make a plan to pay it. Okay. Whether you pay it or pay it over time, it's still a plan. Yeah, I buy that. Driving through railroad tracks when the rails are down and lights flashing, I think it's like an $800 fine, and really, really dumb. Don't do that. Called to report and said no big deal. I would call. The person you got doesn't care about traffic safety, apparently. It's a huge deal. Problem is they can't lay the charge based on you reporting it. Sad. Usually it's when the car gets hit by a train. And they do have rail police, and the rail police really, really like writing that. And as they should. Okay. Caden says, I don't have a front plate, but I'm also in Alberta. Well, you're allowed, and you're exempt if you're here with that car visiting. Can I present my info on the window? See this on YouTube a lot. No, you got to open you got to open it. You got to surrender your license for reasonable inspection by a police officer on demand. Can't just go, here, this is me. Not okay. What is the perspective on faster acceleration if I'm not foot to floor but faster than others? Is it okay? It's all in the interpretation of the officers. Are you 0 to 60, breakneck speed, or people jumping out of the way? Could be careless driving, could be stunt driving, could be, depends. How long did it take you to get into traffic enforcement? So I had a strange story because I started with policing as an auxiliary and as a court officer, and then transferred to, and actually asked to go directly from the police college to traffic, but they put me in a division. When an opportunity became available, I became a traffic officer at the division, and then they were looking to recruit officers to go to central traffic. I put my name in the hat and I went. So I was doing traffic related stuff from the moment I became a police officer in between calls, and then I became a traffic investigator at a divisional level within a year, and then I went down to traffic services shortly after. But it's all based on what you want to do. You have to be capable, and you have to be able to work alone, self-starter, totally different type of work. Let's see here. Captain Mimo Pirate Ship says, ever heard of Crossroads software? Is that... I don't. I just had a recent conversation about some security stuff. Maybe that came up. I don't know if that's the software we're talking about or not, but tell me more. Is it illegal? Is it legal to drive 150 on passing lane? No. The maximum posted speed limit is the legal limit. 150 is stunt driving. Take your car for 14 days, your license for 30, and then you get a 1 to 3 year driving prohibition and a $2,000 to $10,000 fine and up to 6 months in jail. So I would say 150 not legal. Dave. Caden says, "What do you think he was going to say?" Let's see here. Thank you. Someone hit me with a paper license plate. It was not legal, and they've said it fake. Yeah, paper plate for sure. Paper plates are only good for takeout. CBSA versus OPP. CBSA, Canada Border Services, is very different than Ontario Provincial Police. I would say policing all day long. That's just me. I'm biased as a former cop. Border Patrol, also rewarding, I suppose, but I have no direct experience with it. I've worked with them to have people deported before, but very different job. Oh, he wrote the first electronic ticket software in 2002. Washoe County Sheriff and Anaheim PD were first to use it. That's very cool. Oh, I'd love to know more about that. That's exciting. I'm a geek. I worked in the teams that were. I'd been injured in a motorcycle crash, and then I was working with the development teams when I was seconded to the chief's office. So I was working on determining what vehicle or what computer requirements for the upgrades were needed, and working very closely with both developers and I like that stuff. So that's very cool. Actually, I 3D designed and printed with my own personal 3D printer the mounting brackets to test out deploying laptops in our motorcycles, and then we had those CAD files sent off to have a professional manufacturer produce the mount. So all of the Harleys that were holding Panasonic Tough Books were all using mounts that I designed. So that's very cool. I thought it was really neat. Ryan Black 090 says, I got ticketed for no front plate, but the effing dealer didn't put it on. Can I fight it? So you didn't put it on, they put it on, you got a ticket for it. I think that if you took it off and you went to court and said, I didn't put it on, I didn't know it was illegal, they put it on, it's not an excuse. You're still responsible, but you might, if you took it off and showed proof that you took it off, you might be able to get to drop it in court. It's a legitimate ticket though, especially if it obscures the plate. Aether says, any cool memorable stories from TPS? Tons. Unfortunately, can't get into them now. I've been doing this for 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it's I got to turn in. I got an early morning. Zen Trashy FN says, Harleys are still louder. Base Harleys are not louder. Modified Harleys are louder, and modified Harleys are illegal in terms of their straight pipiness. If it's a not loud and obnoxious motorcycle, it deserves to be ticketed like any other. Caden wants to know if anyone ever ran for me and if I had to pursue. Yes. Career-wise, OPP, CBSI, or local Windsor. I know some people in Windsor. I don't know what the policing life is like, but one of my classmates from OPC went there and seems to still be employed and happy there. CBSA, not even on my radar. I didn't want to be a border officer. I don't want to talk about did you buy too much alcohol to import into Canada. Very important job, just not what I wanted to do, because I knew I wanted to be in traffic. I wanted to ride a motorcycle. I don't think they have a motorcycle unit for Canada Border Services. Windsor, if that's your local, like I have family in Windsor. I thought about going to Windsor to move closer to family. I love them. I want to be closer. Didn't do Toronto or OPP's got tons of money, lots of opportunity, can go anywhere in the province. In fact, I have a friend who went to Sarnia, who then went to OPP, because as the provincial police, you can have more to do potentially. So things. Renato Ciani says, so if I drive a Lamborghini with stock pipes, that's illegal. No, a Lamborghini with stock pipes that's being driven like a normal human being, not a car enthusiast, won't make that much noise. It will be within the regulations. It will be permissible. If you open it up and rev it up, you are going to find yourself getting an excessive noise ticket, because driver behavior is one of the leading causes of those tickets, not equipment. Equipment failure and improper equipment could be one of the reasons you get that ticket. Improper muffler and so on. But just unnecessary noise, that's revving and being a noisy car. You're going to have to be low revs to not get that ticket. But it's legal when it's at idle. What is this? Is it legal to drive a semi-truck blowing snow at a passenger vehicle as they go off the road blind? This is arguable. There's equipment that allows the driver to clear the snow. That's what should be done. Many argue that it can't be done or it's expensive. Well, traffic safety is expensive then. But yeah, you could ticket a driver for insecure load. There's a lot of options. Depends on what they see. And if the officer sees it causing issues, I would absolutely pull them over and charge them. Is it careless to do that? I think it's careless. What happens if they try and grab an officer's pew-pew during a traffic stop? If you tried to do that with me, you would probably lose most of your teeth and end up getting arrested. That's what would happen. Securing that firearm and causing debilitating pain for you while you're getting handcuffed. And I don't mean pain to be mean. Pain because it's distractionary strikes so that I can get you handcuffed and arrested while also maintaining control of my pew-pew. That's an ignorant question, but that is the accurate answer. Caden says, try it. I know a lot of people who, well, I don't know them personally. I watched people being arrested for trying that with other cops. I've seen some great videos of it too. That's not even a game. Hand goes on that. Fingers tend to get broken too, just saying, because usually your hand goes on, my hand goes on top of your hand, and then a twist happens. And yeah, very painful. A lot of tears from the guy who thought it was a funny joke, but perfectly justified use of force. Chase wants to know if I do traffic warnings. Do traffic written warnings go away? And if so, could the OPP see it from my plate? Traffic warnings stay forever, part of a police database, and they can be shared. Warnings are just forever. Captain Memo now I'm thinking it might be Captain Memo pirate ship. The traffic cops save lives, especially with directed enforcement. 100% agree. Couldn't agree more, in fact. Traffic officers are truly unsung heroes that aren't appreciated enough. I hope, listen, I've inspired people to become traffic officers as a result of the show. I'm really proud of that. Tyrell69 says, stay true, stay blessed, young sir, from Vancouver, Canada. Right back at you. Thank you very much. Riskless Music wants to know if I was part of the RCMP. No, I was part of the Toronto Police when I was a member of the police for service, but I haven't been for a year and a half. How do you get into law enforcement from a young age? Apply. Lots of ways. Security, what you choose to do and how you study could really help you. Oh, Captain Memo, this is cool. DOI reporting software. Are you still producing software? Is it being retired, replaced? Is it still active? Wow. Cane Blade, I did answer your question. I'll check out the article. Yeah, Captain Memo, follow me. I'll follow you back. I'd love to know more about your software. Mohammed says, "What size tampons do you get to be upset by exhaust noise? If you don't know the negative impact you're making with loud exhaust, well, how could you know? You're in the vehicle. Douchebags, absolute morons, are waking up babies all night. It's not you suggesting that that I get to use a tampon because I understand what impacts communities. Just suggests how ignorant you are. I can say that now that I'm not a police officer. It's a really ignorant statement to make. Never mind the fact that anyway, it's not worth my time. Liam, am I allowed to run my own plow on public roads? I don't believe you are. I don't know the answer, but I don't think that you are. Let's see here. Scott says, "How's your night going?" I'm doing so far so good, but I am 2 hours and 21 minutes, 2.5 hour live stream. I got to call it quits. What plate lookup system do you use? Do you mean for automated license plate readers? That's being used, I believe, by what's the body cam company, Axon. But I don't know. But everything in back end goes in through something that may have changed. But it's irrelevant. It all does the same stuff. Coach college football. That sounds like a good move. The guy from GTA 5 says, "Sean, it's late, man. You should get some rest." Well, yeah, I'm getting. I'm definitely ready for bed. Matt Zara says, "Was AI being introduced while you were a cop, and your thoughts on its future?" AI is going to be a part of everything. I think people rely on it way too much, which is kind of scary. And it was introduced, and I had ChatGPT when I was still on the job. It's a great tool if it's being used responsibly, like for image creation, not for writing police reports. Joel got pulled over for for telling people that they were doing speed trap, and he was warning people. I don't respect the warning people, because what you're doing is you're counterproductive. You're working with people. You're working to tell people to slow down to avoid a ticket, but you might be costing someone their life, because the whole idea of a ticket is to change someone's behavior. If you avoid a ticket because someone warned you, you just go back to doing what you were doing 5 minutes later. You get a ticket, you might be the last time you ever speed. Might be. Doesn't work on everybody. Tom Leo Grande wrote software for the Argonauts. No kidding. I once upon a time did tech support. I worked for a company that had the Argos as a client, and I actually installed some computers at their office years and years ago. I was a co-op student, in fact. What is the legal limit of tint on my windshield? 0, zip, nil, zilch, nothing. Chase says, "Boss man, please answer." I don't see your question. Speeding, it's not that, well, technically, flashing your high beams is improper use of your high beams. So if you're within a certain distance, it is a ticket. Yes. Speeding tickets save lives, 100%. They suck, but they save lives. That's Tom who says it, and he's 100% accurate. And the idea is just like, any punishment, it's there to change your behavior going forward. It's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a reminder that, hey, it sucked last time I did this. It was this. It caused me a ton of insurance increase. It cost me all sorts of misery. I was frustrated. I was angry. I had to go to court. It's supposed to be unfun. Not fun. Fun less. But it is effective. I can tell you I got a ticket when I was a kid. Changed the way I drove. I got 2 tickets. I got one for a stop sign. I got one for speeding, maybe 2 for speeding, 15 over, nothing big, but it changed my behavior. It made me more aware, focused on stuff I wasn't possibly focused on before. And the one that was the stop sign, I didn't even see the stop sign, but boy, I was cautious for every other stop sign ever going forward. So that's a thing. Liam wants to know, and Joel, I got you. Thank you for the thank you. And Chase says, if one police force issues the muffled deleted warning, would a different police force be able to see? Yes, we can see yes, you can see warnings. You can see interactions from other police services. So if I saw that there was a warning from another police service, I would give you the ticket. You didn't fix it. So Liam wants to know how high the truck can be lifted before it's considered illegal. So there's a certified, like in the light truck and passenger vehicle guide, the inspection guide, you can actually download it. I have links to it. If trafficcop.ca, go there and you can see it. You can download a copy for yourself. There is a couple of things: maximum lift, and then there's also maximum height from the center of your headlights to the ground. There's a low minimum and a high maximum. I don't know what it is offhand. You have to go look. And Crocs wants to know if lane splitting on a motorcycle is legal in Canada. It's not. And Chase says their car is loud and the OPP is behind them and doesn't do anything. Truth is, with Doppler effect, the people noticing loud cars are usually people farther away from you. A police siren at 100 kilometers an hour, you barely hear it more than 2 car lengths behind the police car because it's very much directional. You know that wow, that whole thing. It's a thing. Let's see here. The traffic analytics software Crossroads is unbelievable. NHTSA bought it for hundreds of agencies. Oh, right on. So we have 2. Do you guys know each other? Because Tom knows all about Crossroads, and the guy who wrote Crossroads was just here in the chat. And I look forward to chatting with you both. You guys sound like you're like finger on the pulse of all this. That's cool. I now feel bad that I don't know about Crossroads. Let's see here. Joel says, last question. Do you look for more tickets at the end of the month to meet a quota? No quotas. Never had a quota. I always had a personal goal of doing my job and not looking like a plug. So I always wrote tickets. Let's see here. So no quotas. Oh God, please don't tell me. Please tell me you're joking. Afif Hashmi says, can I take my baby out of the car seat if it's crying to soothe the baby? No. If that vehicle is in motion, if you're on the road, that child needs to be properly secured. The ticket for that would be insane, but even worse than a crying baby is an injured baby. So no, you leave the baby in the car seat. But no, I've charged so many people with that. Liam wants to know if they're allowed to have underglow. Depends how it's mounted. If you're projecting light outwards, you might be getting a ticket. But if it's really just reflecting off the ground, you're fine. If I fix the car, how would I get the warning cleared? Warnings don't get cleared. They're just a history. If you fix the car, then next time you won't get another warning because it's already fixed. Got it, Tom. Now I understand. Do you watch live police chases in Los Angeles? I always see them live. I rarely have time to watch TV. Can an unregistered car be parked on a public street? No, it has to be plated. Is my understanding. I'm not a parking professional, but I get it. Lauren Smith says, you're amazing. Thank you very much. Have you ticketed anyone for using an e-scooter? Yes, I have. For various reasons, speed being one of them. So that because it loses its ability to be it's no longer, if it's capable of going more than 32 kilometers an hour, it's a motor vehicle. Then it needs to be insured, licensed, and so on. Am I allowed to own a decommissioned police vehicle that has a spotlight and push bar? It's questionable. The spotlight's not an issue. The push bar, depending on how it's mounted, could be an issue for safety. It depends. DUI should have harsher penalties. Yes. Croc says, can regular police look at driver's logs and bowl, or does Canada have their own DOT certification? What do you mean? We pull people over, we can inspect that. Yeah, we any police officer, any Ministry of Transportation person, anyone who's authorized to do it can do it. Okay. Oh, bill of lading. I'm not a commercial motor vehicle person, so I really don't have the right answer for you. Like, I never did it. One of the courses I always wanted. Need that flag in your background? Yes, I need to add a Canadian flag. Oh, Decision Tactical, Ipsic girl. It's Decision Tactical. I was talking about Decision Tactical, and I will be planning some trips up there. Okay. What does it show when you run a plate that has confidential plates? What's a confidential plate? Plates are plates. They're registered somewhere. We'll get a return. Yes. Joe Stogan says, aren't you in Ontario? It's 12:30. Go to bed. And on that note, I've done this for 2.5 hours. I feel like I've totally made up for not going live yesterday, and I will be calling it. Ladies and gentlemen, It's been an absolute pleasure to hang out with you. I am going to the auto show on Friday. If you're there, I'll be there from open till at least 1 o'clock. If you get a chance, come by the Toronto Police booth. I'll likely be in and around that area. So, somebody wants to know me to talk about the First Amendment, but they would not be realizing that I'm in Canada. So yeah. Someone wants to know. I'll see. Oh, Afif says, I'll see you then. Cool. Kenzie says, what's the penalty for driving with no license, but the car's insurance is legal? Driving without a license is about, I think it's a $300 fine. All right. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. When someone runs a plate that is associated with the, what's it called? It's a program. The name for the program right now, address suppression. It gets registered to the police station. That's the way it is. Tom, it's been a pleasure. All right. I am out of here. I won't be here for the rest of the week, I don't think. Possibly maybe streaming from the auto show. But that will be at the auto show. And we'll see. If I can do it, I'll do it. If I can't, I can't. But I will be here next Tuesday. And I look forward to seeing you then at a regular scheduled time, 10 a.m. And then next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. And I will definitely stop streaming before midnight. Have a good one. Drive safe, drive sober, and park legally, because Aaron Urquhart will write you a ticket if you don't. Have a great one.